And we are live.
Well, look at that. Hello. And how you doing today, Crumb?
I'm doing all right, hanging in there. How's things
Awesome.
on your end?
Well, not too bad. I'm having a super kind of day, so I thought I'd share that with you and the rest of our viewing audience, of course.
Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, show number 5, huh?
Yeah, I guess we're a month in now, give or take.
Yeah, awesome. To let you know, I'm getting a little bit of feedback in my headset here.
Okay. I don't know if that's your headset or what.
No.
What are you hearing?
I'm basically hearing a time delay about 30 seconds when I talk and when you talk.
That's on your end.
That's on my end. Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Boomerang to start show number 5.
Awesome. How about this? I'll just take a little step back here and I'll try to figure out what's going on. Cool?
Sure.
Awesome.
Well, everybody, welcome to the show here. Starting with a little bit of a controversy, I guess. That's one thing that we're talking about today is controversy. It has I don't know how to start this off. How many times in this past week, audience? I'm leaving this to you. Comment there. How many times this past week have you heard of something that's been like absolutely super duper controversial? Right? It's been like something that's so crazy. Oh, do we have you back?
Oh, yeah. I figured out what the problem was.
Oh,
It's all good. Want to hear it? I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
did you have YouTube open?
No.
You did.
No. Yeah, YouTube was open. I now know exactly how long of a delay it is. I remember why it was open too. I was clacking on the link and basically doing all the social media sharing stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm all ready to go. Whoop, bloop, bloop. And all of a sudden, it's like,
Yeah,
it's a
rule number
20-second
one.
delay.
Rule number one: if you're streaming, don't listen to yourself. It's very distracting.
Oh, hell yeah. And of
Oh,
course, with this wonderful mic that you loaned me, and of course, with your audio equipment, everything comes as clear as a bell.
yeah.
So when I'm hearing when I'm hearing things over again, I'm going, did you just say that? Did I say that? No, you just said that. I'm 20 seconds behind. Why?
So Warren Iverson
Yeah.
saying everything out of Trump's mouth is controversial. It's been a very controversial month, I think.
I think so too. I think so as well. And just think, we just started the month, didn't we?
Yeah, we just kicked it off.
Yeah. We're up. We're about 10 days in. So no,
Well,
9 days in.
Also, we'll start with a minor controversy.
Oh,
Minor
okay.
controversy. It's a little bit of just to finish up in Star Wars news. Did you have you heard the news about the Mandalorian?
I haven't heard the controversy about this yet. What did you
Well,
hear?
I don't know if it's much of a controversy. It might be for some people.
Okay.
It might be. So
Mhm.
the actor that played Jango Fett,
Yeah.
in episode like whatever 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
He got the nod. Like he got the tap to play Boba Fett in the Mandalorian.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's a little unfortunate because now we know the man behind the mask, which was always hidden until episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out.
well, the original person that played Boba Fett's not playing him. That's
Yeah.
So, but they're making it, I guess, because they showed Boba Fett as a kid in the movie. So they're
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, the person who played Jango Fett is basically Boba Fett's like that's always the sad part behind Boba Fett there, eh? Like we found out that he's a clone of what's his
Just
name?
relegated. Well,
Like,
I mean, Django is pretty badass, except he just got ruined by a Jedi. That was about it.
yeah, well, we all know about Jedis, don't we?
Yeah. But we finished our Star Wars talk last episode, so
Oh yeah, and that was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, before we jump into to things too heavily here, I want to start off by thanking everybody for watching, and let everybody know if they are appreciative, if they really really like this kind of content, like, subscribe. That always helps the channel. Share the link around. Got people in here, and also we have a Patreon, which I'm going to leave in the description for after this video has been completed here. So we have a Patreon. We have lots of cool little bonuses for the Patreon if you want to join that. At least very, very minimum $3 a month. It's not very much. Cup of coffee. It'll help us out immensely. So
Just jump in just a little bit there. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
it's true. I don't know if our audience goes to Starbucks, but
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyways,
that'll be in the description. But that's all of the shilling that we need to do right now.
of course.
Right now, we're talking controversy. We're talking all of that fun stuff. What the heck? Like, why? So here's the question.
Of course.
Here's the question of the day, and this is to the viewing audience at home as well. What the heck is it about controversy that we just love to talk about it?
Yeah, that's a very good question to ask there, Crumb. I don't know. Maybe it gets people talking. Maybe it's getting into the whole drama stuff of things. How about to you?
That's the question, right? Like, it's something that everyone talks about, like, constantly, even if it's small stuff. Like, I think this quarantine has proven that we can't be left alone in a room with scissors by ourselves. Honestly, because it's gonna it's either gonna end up in somebody's eye or somebody's back. That's honestly what's gonna happen.
Ow!
Yeah.
Jeez, goodness gracious. Yeah.
It's pretty brutal. I mean, like, let's look at just open Twitter and find anything. Right? It's literally anything at all. There's stuff that people are talking about constantly. It's other people's business. Like, why the heck do we have such a, like, as a society? Why the heck do we have this fascination of talking about other people's business?
I blame the boomers.
Well, you're pretty close to that generation. So, like, explain that.
Ow! Thanks, Crumb. Appreciate it.
Well, explain that. Explain that a little bit to us.
Well, I'll explain as best as I possibly can, of course. It all comes down to cooler talk, right? And right before the baby boomers were around, the thing is that people pretty much went to work and that was about it. Not a lot of chit chat back and forth, but when baby boomers kind of sort of came in the workforce, cooler talk kind of happened. And then you got the people gossiping back and forth here and there and say, "Oh, did you hear what happened with Frank the other day?" Blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, you got gossip, and gossip comes into controversy, and it just keeps building up from there. Plus, on top of that, you mentioned before with social media stuff, basically it gets even more amplified through Twitter and Facebook and Periscope and YouTube and all the rest of stuff like that. So just an amputation, basically an amplification of an amplification. And again, the thing is that a lot of people just seem to be bored. So again, it comes right back to baby boomer stuff, I suppose. Plus, on top of that, controversy also sells when it comes to media stuff as well.
Well, let's talk a bit about that. Like, why does controversy sell, though? I mean, like, when you look at it, like, we're from a psychology perspective, right? It's about reinforcement, right? If you want someone to stop doing something, or you want someone to do something, there's a few ways to do it. And this is like a fallacy that it seems to be prevalent. I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been, for as long as I know. But it's the negative reinforcement. Like, people want attention, and so they've been told, like, they've been taught that if they want attention and they want to get attention, whatever else, they just do something. Just do something bad. Like the little kid that, like, never has their parents' attention, so they just start drawing on the wall with crayon, or they, like, they rub dirt in the rug, and they get, like, all of a sudden they get their parents' attention. Like, what the heck? Like, what the heck is it? Like, we know this is a thing, yet we keep fostering it.
Yeah. I really don't know how to answer that to its fullest. I just know from a media perspective, controversy brings in cash, and if you want to make more money, you bring it in. Now, from a more of a society perspective, I guess I said before, I guess people must be bored. If you're looking for more of a child perspective, I guess they just want attention. So I guess
I'm talking about society here.
Yeah,
like, honestly. Why do people keep doing it? Like, it's just take a look at it, right? So, like, I'm gonna point out one of the bigger,
of course, yes,
one of the bigger things that has been going on, I guess, for a very, very long time. So obviously the Trump is a low hanging fruit here. Like, anytime he opens his mouth, people have an opinion. But, like, honestly, if you look at the United States, right? You look at the United States. we have our stuff here in Canada that goes on. Most
Mhm,
Americans don't know outside of late night talk shows what Prime Minister Trudeau has to say or do,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So, why, as Canadians, are we so fixated on the American president?
I think that all comes down to the cult of personality. And basically there's more media, there's more population in the United States there's in Canada. Plus, on top of that, it all depends on how you digest your media. If you watch nothing but Canadian stuff, I mean, nothing but Canadian stuff, you're not going to hear a lot about Donald Trump. But if you watch a lot of American TV shows or follow a lot of American YouTube stuff, plus on top of that, isn't it kind of funny how Trump always hooks his wagon up to Fox News? So just a constant feedback loop, I suppose.
It's just I just find it weird that as Canadians, we know probably as much about American politics as anything
Yeah.
else. I mean, most Canadians know more about American politics than they know about Canadian politics.
And also on top of that, when Trump was being elected into office, Trump brought ratings. So any news source that's out there is looking for ratings. Of course, you're just gonna follow what bleeds that week. And it's when it comes down to stuff like Trump and things like that, that brings all that to the forefront. Same thing with Obama, something with J.W. Bush, same thing with Clinton, and it goes on from there type of thing.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah,
It doesn't really have anything to do with us. It doesn't really affect us, but we're like
for sure.
fascinated by it.
Of course. And the thing is that how are people getting the information? So coming from media, right?
Well, right now it isn't though.
Okay. Well,
It used
previously,
to,
yeah, previously and leading up towards this.
yeah.
So,
It used to. Now it's coming from social media. It's not really media.
yeah.
It's kind of like media adjacent now.
Well, yeah, I'm using media as the
Yeah.
broadest terms
Well,
possible.
I'm talking to the audience too here though,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's people when people say media, it's for some people the first thing that comes to their mind is like Facebook and social media and stuff like that, right? So it's very very interesting. Booster 114 says Trump's an easy target, so they blast him because it's easy.
Well, the funny is, let's look at that. Who's they?
The people that we're talking about, though, the people that
Well,
love controversy, the people that are talking about Trump's like whatever insert thing here.
of course.
It's the same thing that people that talk about Trudeau. I'm sure that it happens everywhere in the world. I'm sure it happens in Australia. I'm sure it happens in Europe with
Mhm.
their world leaders. I mean, we don't hear about like so. Why? Like, here's the thing: why don't
Okay.
we, especially in Canada,
Mhm.
being like a British colony, why
Mhm.
don't we hear anything like any drama about mainstream? I mean, because
Mhm.
it's there if you look for it. But
Mhm.
why don't we hear anything about the Queen, the royal family, or the Prime Minister of Britain?
Well, how about the Prime Minister of Australia or the Prime Minister of Japan, for that matter?
That's what I mean.
I guess when it comes down to it, I guess it's boring.
It's not boring though, because there are people talking about it.
Oh, I guess there's some, but I
No,
guess
there's entire countries.
yeah. I guess it all depends what region you're living in, right? So
That's what I
if you're living
mean.
in the UK, I'm pretty sure you're going to hear a lot about how the UK Prime Minister has all his hair combed forward, and the stupid stuff he said for the day, Trump like type of stuff, etc., etc. We live in North America, we're going to hear a lot about what's happening in the normal presidencies, unless of course the president is really really boring and there's nothing there. As example, if he's just doing his job, keeping his head down low, passing all the right legislation, but of course that gets boring, and I don't think a lot of people will follow it. But again, again,
Historically, people have blown it up though.
well, yeah, and it all depends on the scenario and the news story. I'm assuming as well.
But it doesn't though. That's the whole point.
Okay.
People take every innocuous situation and they blow it out of proportion. Like look at stuff that's been happening just recently in headlines in areas of nerd culture, for
Okay.
example.
For sure.
So I'm gonna take out because I don't know anything about this situation
Okay.
at all. I'm not
Okay.
connected in this situation at all, and so this is a prime
Mhm.
example of like this is coming across my feed, this is
Mhm.
coming across my table, and I
Mhm.
literally have no idea who or what this person is, etc.
Mhm.
Dark Side Phil,
Okay.
it's an online internet personality,
All
right?
right. I believe
I
you.
I don't know him from Joe. Like I can tell you what he looks like because I've seen his picture everywhere.
Okay.
But I honestly don't know what he does. I think he's on Twitch. I think he's on YouTube or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But this man,
Mm-hmm.
something has captivated the internet about this man,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that so like he's been going through a lot of hardships and everything else like that. He's been going through a lot of controversies. Sure, I mean, and everybody has their deals.
Yep.
But the recent topic of conversation for people around the internet water cooler was the fact that this man has been declaring bankruptcy, and mostly surrounding the fact that the fact that he spent like six figures on a WWE mobile game,
Okay.
and he like, and part of the bankruptcy was that he was going to try and discharge that debt for the credit card debt.
Okay.
So like I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, this is pretty innocuous stuff, but there are like huge swaths of
Mm-hmm.
my internet culture and my community that I keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Huge swaths of them that are obsessed, and they talk about this constantly. Now, recently, the big talk was that he was not going to get his bankruptcy discharged, and he was going to like lose his house and all this stuff, all because he
Ooh.
spent so
Okay.
much money on like a WWE video game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that's tragic. Sure, I mean
Mm-hmm.
it's stupid, absolutely, but it's also kind of sad. But his recent news was that he got his, from what I understand, because I again, I'm not really paying much attention to it. This is just stuff that's coming across my feed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing that he had his bankruptcy approved,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people lighting the internet on fire. You know, going and like having virtual mobs because he got his bankruptcy approved, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, you have people that are freaking out. You have people that are like, oh my god, there's no justice in the world. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Busybodies.
What's the topic though?
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with them? I guess there must be some issues that they're maybe going through on a psychological level. Maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff under the hood that we're not aware of. Maybe it's a constant feedback loop, regardless of what media platform you're following. Um, Maybe there's a whole host of stuff that's going on with it, or maybe it's a giant smear campaign. Maybe someone somewhere said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna get this guy, and we're gonna air all his dirty laundry out and make it everyone's business."
So like, let's
Yeah.
when did it change from the fact that we could basically disagree with each other,
Yeah.
and that would be that. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be your friend. I don't have like you don't have to be like my friend.
Hmm.
Booster 114 saying people have too much free time. I agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right now, absolutely they do.
Buckets and buckets.
So when did it change from it being okay to disagree with people to being if you don't share my opinion, I'm going to destroy your life and everyone in it?
Well, that kind of sucks, and that sort of like goes back to the core friendship between two other individuals. Like as an example, you and I don't agree on everything, and we're still friends. And but however, the thing is that there's probably some people out there that maybe are that insecure with things, and the thing is that maybe they just need to be in that echo chamber constantly, being fed back and fed forward information constantly of the same variety.
The question here
Yeah,
is these are it's just not even necessarily people that were friends.
yeah, just people in general
It's
on the
people in
internet,
general on the internet.
shooting back and
When
forth.
like
Yeah.
and it's like
Well,
you're walking
yeah,
across the internet,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You see an opinion you don't like,
yeah,
and it's like, well, I'm going to destroy that person, and I'm going to destroy everyone attached to that person
for
because
sure.
I don't like their opinion.
And the thing is that that's how some people are. Myself, if I see something online that I don't quite like perfect example today, there was a friend of mine that put a post up there, didn't quite agree with it. And I was looking at it, I was looking at it going, ah, ah, just leave it alone and just walk away from it type of thing.
Well,
But it all
it's really
depends on the agenda,
easy.
isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
it's really easy nowadays, especially with social media,
yeah.
to just remove people
Yeah,
from
mute them,
existence.
block them, stuff like that. Well, we've all gone through our peaks and valleys. I'm assuming on one form or another when it comes to type of stuff. I post stupid shit online all the time, and I got people blocking me and muting me. Basically, what's that terminology called? Basically limited their actual view on what I post and what I see and stuff like that. It happens all the time. And that's part of the, like, one of the few things about social media that I remember coming into things back, let's say 5-6 years ago. I remember social media being a friendlier, happier place. What I mean by that, people exchanging recipes, people exchanging craft ideas, memes and stuff like that. And it was really, really cool how that was. And just recently, I'm going to say, for our conversation purposes, in the last 5 years, things have become quite dynamic. People have taken up more of causes. People have saying, there's that guy over there we don't like. We have an agenda. Let's go out and destroy him. Why? Because we're bored of all the puppy memes or the recipe memes or the craft stuff, etc., etc. And I think a lot of those people are very toxic in nature, and they suffer from they probably might suffer from some undiagnosed mental issue, and they just connect with other people that have the same issues or the same force that they have, and they keep building up from their type of thing.
So
Yeah.
here's another one. So
Yeah.
basically, what you're describing, I mean,
Mhm.
it's been around for centuries. Witch hunting has been something for a very, very long
Oh
time.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, of
obviously,
course, of
it's been
course.
witch hunts for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
But the basic thing is, it's like, okay, so on one hand, it's healthy to cut off things that you don't agree with or you don't like, or whatever else. But on the other hand, you're carving out basically a hug box, an echo chamber for yourself, where you don't have you don't have a contrary opinion.
yeah.
So it's very interesting. The Action Toys channel is saying I recently locked myself out of Twitter and life's been a lot happier without it. I mean, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I mean,
yeah.
like, I let's talk about our stuff for a little bit
Sure,
here with
sure.
Kitchener Comic Con, right?
Oh, one of my
we've
favorite
we've
subjects.
had we've had quite a bit, and this goes back to what Action Toys is saying. After
Did we?
after after everything slowed down,
Yeah.
right? Let's just say that after everything slowed down, and we could
Mhm.
actually have a regular
We could
social media
breathe.
presence, we could
Yeah,
actually breathe.
yeah.
And after the event was finished, and after all of the post mortem of the event
Yep.
happened,
Mhm.
it has been such a better time for, like, at least for myself, on
Mhm.
social media, not having to deal with like a constant threat level omega of
Level 3.
nonsense, where
Yeah.
literally people were acting like every single thing that we did
Yep.
was the end of the fucking world.
Of course. Of course. And how could we do that? How can we even have the audacity to bring in Vic to the region of Waterloo? Why are we believing all the internet lies? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It's
Well,
like,
at least, here's the part though.
yeah,
Even as, like, because that stuff was expected.
yeah.
That's not bad. What I'm talking more so about, because I mean that's easy enough. Oh, textbook controversy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the how dare you tell someone that they're wrong? How dare you, not respond? How dare you not allow us to trash you on your platform?
Exactly. The in
That's I'm not even joking. That was
Yeah,
literally one of the criticisms. That was one of the, oh my god, pearl clutching criticisms, was that we did not let people onto the platform to bash that platform.
yep.
So like it makes me
You
wonder.
know what? And that was horrible of us.
Well,
How could we deny someone's freedom of speech to come on to our backyard just to poop everywhere?
let's
And
let's hold on. Let's hold that thought
yeah,
for a moment. So
yeah, of course.
Americans enjoy the freedom of the freedom of speech, right?
Mhm.
That's baked into their independence.
Yeah,
Canadians don't have that.
yeah.
Much to the
Wait a minute,
surprise of
we
many.
don't?
No,
I'm surprised.
I know. So here's a small little lesson for people out there, that might be American, that may care, or that might be Canadian and actually haven't read literally anything of it.
Mm,
The Charter of Rights and Freedoms only guarantees the freedom of expression. It's
Yep.
basically like artistic expression
Yep.
and right to peacefully assemble,
Yep.
and the right to there's another one too. Basically like have
Yeah.
access to human rights without people infringing on them.
Yep.
Booster 114 saying KCC was a blast. Didn't get to meet Crumbrion, sadly. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was everywhere.
we were
Maybe
we
next
were
year.
all of us was everywhere that those 2 days. Goodness gracious.
So the question remains. It's like, okay, so if we don't have a freedom of expression, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a freedom to associate.
Yeah.
That's the other one. That's a big one actually.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. So under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, by telling us that how dare you, and getting upset that how dare you not allow us to be a part of your social media, how dare you not allow us to comment on your profiles and everything else.
Mm.
That is our right to association,
Mhm.
is it not?
Oh, it is. Sure.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but
No, of
I would
course. Oh,
I would
Jesus. Yeah, I think both of us are farthest away from that point.
to break it down.
Yeah.
The right to association is the right to associate or disclude people from associating with you.
Yeah.
That's your right as a Canadian under
Yep.
the right under the charter. And so like you have the freedom of expression, which is generally like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We're broadcasting, we're having an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Our expression is protected under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now,
correct.
if we start going off and start dropping hard R's,
Mhm.
that all of a sudden that gets into a dicey territory. We don't have the freedom of expression or
Or
the
talking about hate
freedom of
groups
speech.
and stuff like that type
Yeah,
of
we can't talk about hate groups.
because
Not like we would.
now we're infringing on other people's, freedoms as well by doing that.
Yeah, and that's not a protected
That's right.
thing
Mhm.
under the charter. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting stuff because there's a lot, and this goes back to what we were talking before. There's a lot of American bleed in Canadian culture.
Yes.
Like the one controversy that was going on about Trudeau in the midst of this pandemic.
Mhm.
Trudeau banning banning assault weapons and assault guns.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw this or not, but there are people posting all over social media saying that it's their right as to the Second Amendment to have guns.
The Second Amendment in Canada.
Exactly.
Perfect. Excellent. And
That's
also just to bring a little bit into that, which is very, very funny. Did you pay full attention when Trudeau was actually listing off all the different, criterias for that?
no. I know that he accidentally included a coffee brand. I thought that
That's
was
awesome.
pretty funny.
That's awesome. Well, everyone knows I got the, cottage cheese brain syndrome going on every once in a while, but however, one of the few things I didn't hear him say, he says it's not illegal to own one, but it's illegal to transport it. It's illegal to sell it. It's illegal for this, and this. But from what I picked up on, it wasn't illegal to own it. So the
Yeah.
funny thing is that if you take it from, let's say, from your house into the front yard, you're now transporting it.
Yeah, I think there's
yeah,
legal definitions for transport, but I
of
get
course,
I get what
of
you're
course.
saying.
Yeah. I
But
get it,
yeah,
and this is stuff I picked up in Echo. So again, nothing too solid, but that's one of the few things that I kind of walked away from. It's like, oh, so you could have this, but all your visions are behind it. So if you own one, awesome, cool. That's it. Put it behind a glass
well,
case.
let's take a look at that just briefly for a second.
Yeah.
It's like I can understand the collectability
Yes.
of guns, like, and I apologize to our
Audience.
Second Amendment viewers
Yeah.
and people who are super duper into guns. I'm
Yeah.
not really super duper into guns.
Yeah,
Like
same here.
I'm more into swords and collectible stuff like that. So which is very very along the same lines where I'm going here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see somebody walking down the street with a broadsword,
Nope, but
right?
it's
But
legal,
no, it's not legal.
isn't it?
It is not legal. No.
I thought it was, especially if you sheave it and have a little
No,
clip.
you have to have it sheathed and it has to have a safety strap.
Yeah.
You cannot have it brandished walking down the street.
Yeah, so basically, if it's in the sheath, it's fine. Once
Yes.
it's unsheathed, that's illegal.
Yes.
Yes.
So the same. I'm guessing the same thing is with guns. Is that you have to have it secured if you're transporting and if you're
Yeah,
walking around with it. You
for
can't
sure.
just have it out.
Yeah. Well,
So
yes.
that is
Unholstered. Yeah.
yeah, unholstered, exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder. It's like, okay, well, so and I'm not a gun person, so I can't answer this. Do people that own guns, the people that are pro guns, are you folks? Do you think it's weird? Would you think it's weird for someone to be walking down the street with a broadsword in the middle of the day?
Yeah. I also heard that it's illegal or something like that. You can't wear body armor. Did you hear about this?
I think it's certain grades of body armor.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly the full details, but just being a super layman here, I heard that you can't wear body armor in public unless you're a security guard or a cop or something like that. Unless, of course, there's a profession that you need to have this under certain circumstances.
Well, I know
So,
that's more tribal knowledge because I
yeah,
know that you can wear. I think it's certain degrees of body armor. I think it's
yeah,
like military grade that you're
hmm,
not allowed to wear openly.
yeah,
But you can wear it obviously for your own protection.
yeah,
It's we live in a society, obviously. But no, I again, like there's a lot of this like really weird tribal stuff that kind of
yeah,
creeps up,
yeah,
and it seems to bleed in from a bunch of different sources. And I guess that's kind of where it ties into all these controversies that we hear, right? I
yeah,
mean, like, if literally, if we look at anybody,
hmm,
I can't remember exactly where I heard this, but it was a very good quote.
hmm,
Basically, it people will criticize X, Y, or Z person, right? Like they'll criticize you, they'll criticize me, etc., etc. Do they do the same thing? Like literally, do they do the same thing when they go into their favorite grocery store? Do they go and say, okay, well, who's the manager of this store? Does the manager have any previous offenses? Does the manager pay his taxes? You
yeah,
know, like do they do the same thing when they go into GameStop? Do they do the same thing when they go into Walmart?
yeah,
Do they say it's like, oh, who's working here? Like who's the cashier? Who's checking me out? Was this does this cashier is this cashier like is this cashier on welfare? Are they etc. It's like no,
Did they do their taxes?
yeah. Do they do their taxes?
Are we dealing with an honest person? Is their tax rating at a decent level? Are they honest? Is there any form of criminal intent?
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't do that with literally every single person we come across. So why is it okay for certain individuals to be screened like that?
I honestly don't think it's okay whatsoever. Because again, it comes down to it, it's none of our business.
Well, that's really what it is, right? It's not any of our business, but we make a live. Like, there's people that make a living out
Yep,
of making it their business.
and they get the money from it, don't they?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the strange part.
And on top of that, some people just jump in because, golly gee willikers, you have to be part of something. And if you're part of this little hate group, we could get more people involved. And the funny thing is now what you have is paid employees and volunteers. And it like goodness, I guess it's all built on synergy, allowed to be positive or negative. Like
Well, that's what I don't. That's what I don't get because at that point, it's not about whatever you're trying to do. So, like,
yeah,
if you're trying to raise awareness or X, Y, or Z, right?
yeah,
You know, say that this person's a pony. Like,
yeah.
okay, great. If there's
Awesome.
I mean, if
And how old are you?
well,
36, 40?
that doesn't matter. It's the point of like, okay, well, if you're doing it to raise awareness because you as an individual don't like somebody,
Yeah,
okay, then and if you keep standing on that street corner and
yeah,
beating that drum and like scream at people until they listen to you,
yeah.
at what point does that become unacceptable from a society standpoint?
I guess when it starts breaking the law,
But
I
that's the thing. It's like
isn't it? Especially with social media? Like,
uh,
the trials and tribulations that both of us, especially me, have gone through in the last little while when it comes to stupid stuff like this. And on top of that, I look at the people that were banging on their virtual drums going this and that and that and this. Someone's going, you know what? When my parents were their age, they wouldn't do anything like that. Not at all.
well, I mean, it's great to live in a time where we have so much time in our hands where we
Yeah.
can focus on that.
Yeah.
But like the question is, it's like when does it become illegal? Let's take a look at what happened to Vic Mignogna.
Yeah, of course.
right? But that's the pinnacle right now, and the stuff that's happening to Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
because there's a whole shit load of stuff that's going on with
Yeah,
that.
I've been following a little bit of that, and it's really interesting how this whole case has turned, 90-degree angle since last time I believe we first talked about, or
Yeah,
when it was first released, which I think is great, to be honest with you.
yeah. I mean, like, it's really really weird
Yeah,
because people can just literally say whatever they want about you
and jump
on
on any
social media.
bandwagon. Yeah, jump on any bandwagon, and it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. They all want to be part of something, don't they?
But here's the funny part.
Mm,
Like tomorrow, I
yeah.
could go out and I could say I could make a statement about person B,
Hmm.
and then I could say, "Hey, Ron,
Yeah.
I want you to go and like my post, and I want you to prop up my post, and blah blah blah." And then you'd be like, "Okay," and then we
Oh,
could get our
one second.
friends.
Oh,
No, hold on.
okay,
And
okay.
then we
Keep
can get
going.
our
Sorry.
friends to go on
Yeah.
and be like, "Okay,
Well, if Ron
I'm gonna."
likes it, then you have to like
I
it.
just lost your audio. Just 1 second.
Okay.
There we go. And then we're gonna get our friends to jump on that
Yeah.
and say, "Well, go on here and let's all go do this together." Because if 5 people say it,
Hmm.
that gives it more traction than if one random person says it.
Hmm. Yep.
So how are we gonna, like? I mean, I know how I would do it, but like,
Hmm.
how as a society
Yeah.
can you fight back from that? Because here's the thing. Here's the tale of two. Here's the tale of two cities,
Yep.
basically. Vic Mignogna had his stuff happen to him,
Yep.
and he came out. He was very quiet. He was very low key. He was very even tempered. He handled it very professionally, very quietly,
Yeah.
and he got buried for it.
Yeah.
Whereas Johnny Young Bosch, who
Hmm.
had virtually the same accusations come out about him,
Yeah.
and he addressed it immediately, very short, very curt, very like give proof or shut the fuck up,
Yep.
and everyone applauded and backed off.
Yep.
So like, does it come down to just beating on an easy target?
I think there's a bunch of factors involved with that, if I could be so honest with this. Because the thing is that with all superstars, you have people who hate you and people who like you. And it all depends on who your social media manager is, and it depends on the actual tactics moving forward. Example with Vic Mignogna, he decided to take the high road, don't give it any attention, and it goes away. Okay, cool. And the things that was his approach for a while. With Johnny Depp, he probably sat down with all those media people and said, okay, what should we do? They came up with a plan. And as I said before, if someone says something and someone else backs it up, now you get the whole opposite effect taking place, going in a different direction. Then you got to start winning public opinion. So I guess it really depends on approach, depends on strategy, depends on what they want. Because I'm pretty sure that if Vic really wanted to hit this hard in the bud, I'm pretty sure he could talk to the right social media people, or basically hire himself a social media manager, and basically take it from that perspective. Because some people know what happened with me and the steps that I took and the people who I gave my confidence to and took advice from moving forward with that. And again, that was all strategy moving forward from that part. So I guess it really depends on the situation. Plus, on top of that, if things started getting over hyperactive and really involved, people could go to the police and launch a report. But at the same time, as we both know, it really depends on how heated things are and what's happening in those conversations. Like, as an example, if the person steps up and says, my name is Ted Smith, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to kill this person. And yes, I am really Ted Smith, and I live at this address. The police will stop by their house saying, okay, Ted, what are you doing? But if the person says, I'm just Ted and I'm going to kill you, they kind of go, well, we don't know if this is really Ted Smith who lives this address. So there's a whole bunch of circumstances that comes up
Well,
with that.
it really boils down to
Yeah.
how active the police want to be with it.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it all depends. It's really a case by case scenario. But of course, by those case scenarios, there's certain things that need to take place before the police get involved. Plus, on top of that, as we both know, that if things get too heated, you could take the person to court. I hope you have a lawyer. I hope you have the money to pay the lawyer, and that will take a very long time. But that would also shut some people up immediately as well.
That would be the last resort, though. And like,
Yeah.
before we get too far off,
Yeah,
from
of
this,
course. Of course.
I did want to touch on, so for the people out there, and
Yeah.
and I know that Vic did reach out to a PR firm.
Yeah.
my opinion, and I mean hot take here,
Yeah.
there is a very, very large difference between a PR firm and
Mhm.
a media manager.
Of course there is. You're absolutely right.
There is a huge difference between the two.
Yep.
And PR firms exist to make money.
Mhm.
They don't I mean, as much as they want to, try and say like, oh no, we try to better the image. Absolutely not. They
Yeah.
do the absolute fucking worst thing for their clients most of the
Yeah.
time because
Yep.
they want to kneecap them so bad that they have to stay with that PR firm.
Yep.
When I'm talking social media management, I'm talking or just management in general.
Yep.
You want what's best for your client because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
If your client is doing exceptionally well, then you are doing exceptionally well.
Yeah.
So basically, as a manager, from a manager's perspective,
Mhm.
you're going to go and do the best thing for your client,
Yep.
and you're going to step in and do all that stuff. It's,
And,
that's the big difference that I can see.
and also just to add just a little bit with that, it all depends on what arena you're fighting in.
It's
Like
true.
again, with our stuff, it was strictly online. With more of a public relations firm, they might be looking at saying, okay, what's going on here? Are they involved with the traditional media like paper, television, or radio? Okay, they are. Cool. All right, we're going to combat that way through that particular arena of things. So, and also at the same time here, from a public relations perspective, you have to minimize the damage and try not to add too much negative fuel to things moving forward as well. So it really depends on the fight, where it's taking place, how it's happening.
Well,
Plus,
it's like
yeah,
I'm trying to like figure out like a good comparison.
yeah,
It's like hiring a garage when all you need is a mechanic.
this is true. It all depends what's wrong with your car too. If you need to put in a hoist, then you have to take it to the garage and get it fixed. If you're looking what's underneath the hood, you just pop it open and play around with the engine and stuff like that. It really depends on the scenario and what's wrong with it. So most of the stuff with Vic stuff, when it came down to it, all of it was happening online, and a lot of public relations people, back and during that time period, because again, 5 years is a very long time online. It really changes the format and how things are moving forward.
Like I'll say that from the original, because I mean, like it's gotten massively overbloated and complicated now, but
Yeah,
from how things were originally,
yeah.
like I think Vic went to the PR firm with a flat tire,
Yeah.
and they talked him into a full engine replacement and body paint.
Yeah, yeah. They looked at it and said, well, your tire's a little low. You're gonna replace the brake pads and
That's
what
going to be your
replace the brake pad.
transmission. We're going to have your blinker
Exactly.
fluid
Yeah, yeah.
replaced. Yeah.
And since we're talking about the brake fluid, let's go in the engine, and oh, look at that flywheel. That's really bent to the shape. We got to fix that up, and oh my god, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I don't know. There's a recent one that popped up too that came across, and people that follow
Mhm.
sports might know this.
Mhm.
Americans might not know this, but there was a couple NHL, at least there was at least one NHL player.
Oh, that's hockey, right? Yeah,
Hockey.
Americans won't know a lot about that.
I mean, some do,
Some
but
do. A lot don't.
enough do apparently. But there
Gotcha.
is there is an NHL player and at least a couple other players. I don't know if they're minor hockey or whatever else. They had DMs from Instagram leaked,
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
and oh yeah.
Oh no.
So here's the thing.
Sorry.
What do you think? What do you think was bad enough? What do you think was bad enough that they said? So this is an NHL player who's been playing for. He plays for the Washington Capitals.
Uh-oh.
He's. I'm pretty sure he's a Stanley Cup winner with them.
Okay.
He's not a very good. He's not a very good player. He's not like a Sidney Crosby type of thing or Wayne
Mhm.
Gretzky. He's not a household name. He
Yeah.
might be now. So
Yeah.
you have an NHL player. What do you think would be heinous enough to say over a private text message that would get you terminated from an NHL team?
This person is racist. That's my first go-to thing.
It's a good guess, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's not what happened.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm stripping my brain. There's so many things that come to the forefront. Maybe the person is I don't know, something very personal, perhaps. Maybe this person's not a good player, or this person's only been invited here because his dad owns the league, perhaps. I don't know.
So you would think like the first thing to come to mind would be racism. I
Yeah.
mean, like the other stuff would be like bigotry. You'd be looking at like homophobia, whatever else, right?
I wasn't
Something
going to
like
mention
that.
homophobia. I was going to mention some. I was basically labeling it as something very personal. If you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
So you think so?
yeah.
What do you what do you think of insulting somebody's weight?
Are you kidding me? Oh
I'm
wow.
saying, what do you think? Do you think that that is worth losing a professional career over?
Well, this is the funny thing. It's a private message, right?
Yeah, it's a private conversation.
So basically, someone's packing on the pounds, and it's two people talking back and forth. Are they being
Let's just say
serious? Is it in jest? Like,
let's say this is like your typical locker room talk about guys. It's like, oh, I'm going to smash that girl, you know, blah blah blah
blah blah
blah blah.
blah blah blah.
This, that, and the other thing, you know. Oh, she on a scale of like 1 to 10, she's dog ugly, you know, like blah blah
Oh,
blah.
jeez. Yeah. I get what
Do
you're
you
saying.
do you think that that is worthy of losing an entire career over?
All right. Let's look at this from a quick perspective. What is the contract that they signed when they got involved with the hockey league?
Oh
That's
yeah.
one. Second question, is it protected speech? If the answer is no, and the thing is the guy's being a douchebag online by saying that chick is so fat that she has one curve and it's round. The thing is that it all depends on the protected speech in the contract that players sign when they walk in there. If they sign an agreement that they can't talk about the type of stuff, then that is on them. If they haven't, then I guess the person's gonna have to lawyer up, take the league to court, and say, "Look, I can say what I want to say through private speech." And that's exactly what this is all about. If this got leaked, that's not my fault. That's not my problem because someone can rip through my mailbox and take my letters, post them up in any posting board within the region and stuff like that. But again, that's not my fault. That's not my problem. That's sabotage, or that's an accident, or something else along those lines.
Well,
So,
and here's the thing.
yeah,
Like it does just let's just go right down to the basic
sure,
form of this, right? So like obviously he apologized, which mistake number one.
mistake.
Mistake number one, he apologized for it.
Yeah.
Because that's of course, you know, getting thrown around the internet and everyone's like, oh, this is how not to apologize, you know, blah blah blah
Oh,
blah.
Jesus.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
But
Yeah.
basically this guy lost like, at least millions of dollars,
Yeah.
if not tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But basically at this point, I don't think he can ever play in the league again.
Mhm.
And he's lost his career over something that it was just like just an everyday conversation that I hear worse on. Like I hear worse playing online video games.
Yeah.
I've been called worse playing online video games,
Mhm.
and these people are allowed to continue. So, like, my
Mhm.
question is, why are people so fixated on this like basically a fourth line player, someone who basically plays like 7 minutes a night,
Yeah.
which is nothing.
Yeah.
Relegated to bench warmer basically. So why is why are so many people up in arms over that? Yet they won't take the initiative and like listen to their kids playing Fortnite and saying far worse things,
Of course. Of
which
course.
actually lead to other repercussions or could potentially lead to other repercussions. No,
Yeah.
we have to take it out on this person that we don't know
Yeah.
and like literally have no impact on our lives
Yeah.
over a conversation that he had privately that had no impact on anybody else.
Yeah. It's an unfair set of circumstances. And as I said before, it all comes down to the contract that was signed. It all depends on the law that's going on. Because if the person that wants to protect their rights, they're going to have to do that. At the same time, again, let's break this down just a little bit here. Let's talk about league stuff. If the league fired this person out of misstep, then the league has to hire them back. What he does from that point forward in their career, that's totally up to the individual player and what they want to move for. Run for more from a public perspective, it's public outrage, and people get outraged over nothing in 8.2 seconds. It all depends who it is and what they're doing.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're absolutely correct. When these people who are getting outraged looks at this hockey player that's a fourth tier bench warmer, and basically gets all bent out of shape by saying, "Oh, this person should have known better." Blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, their kids are saying "f" and this and "f" and that. And the parent's not doing anything, that's very hypocritical of that parent. But again, it really depends on the scenario that's going on. And who's this person? What they want.
Action Toys channel says rules for thee, not for me. Absolutely agree.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely agree. I mean, here's the thing though.
Hmm.
Like you say that, oh, if the league finds if the law finds the league did something wrong, blah blah blah.
Yep.
No, they don't. So here's the thing. Is he? I Does he have a legal case? I believe he might. I
Yep.
mean, based on all the
Yep.
stuff, based on the free speech laws, I mean, it could very well be restrictive of his free speech. It could very well become down to his
Mhm.
contract.
And also, it's very
However,
expensive. Yep.
it is very expensive, and I don't think he would do it. But
Yep.
however, what it comes down to is that there is, say, 30 teams in the league.
Hmm.
30 teams in the league can choose to not hire him.
You're absolutely correct.
And they could choose to not hire him because of any literally any fucking reason whatsoever. There is
Yep.
no legal way to show that they didn't hire him for that specific reason. Let's
Yep.
look at Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
Let's look at Tim Tebow.
Hmm. Of
Like
course.
Colin Kaepernick has the controversy surrounding him because of his kneeling during the American national anthem.
Yep.
Tim Tebow has the controversy surrounding him because of his overt Christianity displays during games.
Yep.
Now, teams won't say that's the reason that they're not taking them, but everyone knows it.
Yep.
Everybody knows it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing here. It's like, well, now you have this player who's basically lost his career.
Yep.
Never is going to get hired onto another team because of the baggage that he carries from literally shop talk. Because I mean,
Yep.
it's
Locker room talk. Yeah.
everyone in the league
Yeah.
guarantee you from the top down. I can guarantee you they've talked like that once or twice.
Of course. But the thing is there a digital thumbprint behind it?
Well, there probably isn't.
Yeah. And that's really
but here's the
difference, isn't
thing: we live in a digital age. Look at
it?
Patrick Kane.
You're absolutely correct. Yep.
Look at Patrick Kane. A few years back, he was in a fucking cab, and he was an asshole to somebody, and they got it on fucking camera.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
it literally any point in your life, take a snapshot of any point of your life,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's take a look at
There's a very sorry for interrupting, but there's a very good line that you used a very long time ago. Not quite a long time ago, but some time ago. What would be the color of your bones and your skeleton if they ever came to light, or something like type of thing?
something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. And sorry, continue.
So,
Sorry.
let's take a look, right? I mean, and again, I'm not religious, so take this as whatever. But why are we so in a rush to get to St. Peter's Gate, right?
Yeah.
Why are we such in a freaking rush to run up there? Booster 114 says it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Absolutely,
Mhm.
I agree. So why are we in such a rush to get to that book and look over every single and pour over every single instance of our life and relive every single joy and every single sin? Like, and not only that, but we're rushing to the library to get everyone else's book and show the world.
Yeah.
Like that's something it's supposed to be personally reflective. Everyone, literally everybody has done shitty things in their life.
Yeah.
Every single person has done shitty things in their life. So to sit here and to have every single bad decision that you ever made in the heat of a moment, or even thought about, like, or even had a lot of time to think about it and chose to do bad,
Yeah.
brought out of context and then be shamed for it, basically be morally stoned to death.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Among other things.
Because like where and I don't understand that from a society perspective, right?
Yeah.
So from a societal perspective, why is it fun to do that? Because literally you could be the next person that could be dragged out into the town square and publicly beheaded.
And usually that happens more times than not, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
What's the color of their outrage mob this week, or this moment, if you will?
Well, it's the Ouroboros, right? It's the never ending. It's the snake eating itself.
Yep.
They want like this mob. I'm going to say they.
Yeah.
This mob that wants justice, that craves justice, they want blood
Constantly.
constantly.
Yeah.
And for the gamers out there in the audience, for the nerds out there in the audience, Portal was a very good example of this. So
Oh, okay.
Portal is like basically a little platforming video game. It's a little puzzle
Yeah.
solving video game.
Yeah.
So at least at first seems really really innocent, surrounding like this computer AI that makes tests for you to complete. So the AI was programmed to get like a positive reinforcement response every time that the subject, like every time that the test that they completed, like they had a subject complete the test. But if they had the subject complete the same test twice, they wouldn't get the same level of like reinforcement, like endorphins, basically.
So stimulants, like a
Stimulant.
cookie or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like say that you completed like a 1 + 1 = 2.
It's 2. Yeah.
You can get like a little positive reinforcement. And then
Yay.
it's like, okay, well I'm gonna complete that again. 1 + 1 = 2. You don't get anything.
Oh, that's kind of
Okay.
sucks.
So you have to continually do more and more difficult things to get positive reinforcement. So by the time that Portal happened, the video game Portal, by the time of that timeline of that game, the the AI completed so many ridiculous tests that it was not getting any feeling from just regular stuff. It basically put you through tests that were going to kill you.
That's awesome.
Because if you overcame that challenge,
Yeah.
then it would get an endorphin rush, and it would get like this nice little positive reinforcement.
The computer.
The computer.
The computer. Yeah. Wow.
The
All
AI.
right.
The AI. Booster114 says villains who twirl their mustaches are easy to spot. Those who clothe themselves in good deeds are well camouflaged. Very good quote.
Ooh, that's deep. That's
very
awesome.
Good quote.
Yeah.
No, honestly though. So you have people who are sitting here, and this happens a lot with I really hate the term social justice warrior, because I mean it's a blanket, but it's the same thing with like male feminist. I hate that word too, because there's I don't know when you look at that stuff, you have people that clothe themselves in a movement. They cloak themselves in a movement because they're trying to avoid that movement. That happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
You see it all the time where you have like the quote unquote male feminist who's pushing for everything, like the worst of feminism.
Yeah.
And I say that like wanting equality from like myself. I want equality. I want people to be equal.
Yeah.
I want to have equal choice, like equal chances, 100%. Equal choices, etc. You have these people that were like, well, no, women deserve everything above everybody else, and blah blah blah. Women first, yada yada. And then you have men who are like that. I mean, the words for them have evolved over the years, but now we have insert definition here every single week for them. But now you have men that are pushing for that, and it oftentimes, not every time, oftentimes, more often than not, more than 51%, they turn out to be exactly who they're rallying against.
Yeah.
Like they turn out to be the assaulters. They turn out to be the abusers. Like basically wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
And Action Toys is asking, who did your nails? You like the black tips?
First off, thank you very much for noticing. I honestly thought no one would. I did them myself. I've been getting back into nail polish stuff recently. I think it looks really cool. I like it. So yeah, thanks. Me. But anyways, as you were saying, Crumb.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on it? Like, I mean, you have these people that are literally cloaking themselves in movements to avoid being caught by the Spanish Inquisition themselves.
Well, my thoughts. Do you want my receptive thoughts or my personal thoughts?
Your personal thoughts.
Personal thoughts. Okay. I really think it's unfortunate that there's individuals out there that do these type of things. I think a lot of these people are looking for attention. I think there's some individuals out there that are out there that are serving their own agenda, moving forward, trying to move with a crowd of happy people, at the same time self-serving themselves along the way. I personally think it's not right. I personally think it's wrong. That's what I really think about people like that.
So, here's, and going back along
Yeah.
the lines of what I was talking about before here,
Yeah.
is it's like, okay, so when they get a target down, great, they got
Yeah.
that target down, that's awesome, right?
Perfect.
But
We could go home and call it a day. Let the
but they
credits roll.
can't. They can't
Exactly.
though.
Exactly. Because they're in the theater. They're looking for their next endorphin rush. They're looking for their next victim, their next target, if you will.
So it's
And
like
it just
great.
keeps,
Well, we got him. Now, who else can
yeah,
we get?
exactly. Or we haven't nailed that person down yet. What else can we get him on, or them on, or her on, type of thing?
Exactly.
How much can we kick this redhead zip child up and down the street? How many times can we keep doing this and getting away with it?
It's like people get used to that level of notoriety. Like, I think one of my favorite. I think it was King of the Hill.
Okay.
I think it was King of the Hill, and I bring this up a
Awesome.
lot in
Okay,
conversation. But I think it was that when I think it was Dale.
Okay.
Dressed up like Santa Claus for Christmas.
All right.
And like, or not Dale. What's it? Bill.
Bill.
The bald guy.
Okay.
The bald fat guy. Like,
the bald fat guy. I was gonna say the heavy set gentleman.
Bill Dotree.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill
Yeah.
Dotree.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you got it.
So when he dressed up like Santa Claus for Christmas, and everybody was paying him attention, and everybody was praising him, and everybody was loving him, and everything else, and he was like, "This is amazing." He's like, no one's ever paid this much attention to me. Everyone just ignores me, and everyone hates me, and all that stuff normally. And so after Christmas, he kept the Santa costume.
Yep.
For weeks
and weeks
and weeks.
Yep.
And weeks. And people were like, okay, this is kind of weird that you're doing this now. And he didn't understand why people didn't like him anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's what we're kind of getting into here with these people. It's like, all right, yeah, you were part of one movement. You destroyed one person that might have done something bad. That's great. But now it's like, you got used to that attention. You got used to that spotlight.
Yeah.
And you want to go after other people.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that are critical of me for God knows whatever reason. There's plenty of people out there that think that I'm like attention seeking and everything else like that. I am like the least attention seeking person on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
I don't even like going on webcam, as you can see. Yeah, exactly. Like, I am perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy to sit back and just play video games and whatever else and all
And
this
just
other
chill.
stuff, and just chill.
Yeah.
And just not really be a part of all this crap.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that think that I'm like some like
attention
mastermind, attention whore.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, it blows my mind. But it's like, no, like, I'm perfectly fine. After KCC gets quiet, I'm perfectly fine just going back to life as normal and going back to what I'm doing. But there's people out there that are constantly, not like coming after myself, coming after the event, saying stuff for months and months and months after it's relevant.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like, I get it. Like, these people are stuck.
Yeah. So sometimes they are. And one of the few things about getting involved with media from my perspective, how can I put this? Before I met you, Crumb, it was great to have attention constantly poured on you, constantly being validated for everything that you're doing right, even when you're doing stuff wrong, constantly being surrounded by individuals that are picking yourself up all the time, people just being surrounded by nothing but yes people. And after a while, if we talk a little bit about chemistry, becomes a endorphin rush, and you just keep craving it constantly, over and over and over again. Sometimes as alcoholics like to have it, you have yourself a moment of clarity. You kind of go, whoa, I really fucked up. What do I do? And as you mentioned, when does the healing really begin with some people? Some other people don't even realize that. And it takes a lot to look themselves in the mirror and say, look, this is what you're doing. This is where you're going wrong. You have to fucking stop this. And sometimes you have to take a step back from those people and basically, hopefully, cross your fingers that they get their head readjusted. But sometimes people don't have that social networking or that moment of clarity. And they just keep going on and the next thing and the next fucking thing and the next fucking thing and the next fucking thing. And the thing is, they get more and more negative along the way. And the thing is that sometimes even myself, I came dangerously close when it comes to stuff like that. But there's some people out there that just don't see it. And they think that they're right. And they think they're fighting a cause. But meanwhile, it's all the shit that's in their head. And that's just some people. Some other people may know this and come to moment clarity. And they might say to themselves, you know what? Fuck it. I really like feeling like this. And I'm going to keep moving in this direction. And damn anyone who gets in my fucking way. Of course, push and they keep moving forward. And it all depends, and it also looks from a different perspective. It's the whole high school thing. You know, I'm super duper popular because I wore a funny hat today, or I wore this and I got lots of attention. I like getting attention, but I can't really tell anyone about it. But I want more attention. Exactly with high school. Like, fuck. One of the few things about me is that you know, as I'm a bit of a closet attention whore myself, when I was in high school, um, I couldn't care. I didn't care. Um, I went there. I learned my stuff. I got along with a few people. I pretty much stayed in the library, read comic books all the time, or did my drawings and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I worked with it. But those are other people that just crave that attention, allowed to be theater or sports or whatever the case may be. Myself, I just found it fun to work with other people. But there was other individuals who just wanted attention, good or bad. They just wanted it constantly. And I guess when it comes down to those people, hopefully one day they could grow up, understand their mistakes, and move forward from them. But sometimes they may get permanently lost in their own headspace.
Well, that's
And that's
a very
sad.
good point. Like, it's an addiction at that point, isn't it?
It is. And the
You
thing is
become a
that,
slave to it.
well, I don't want to say a slave to it. It depends on the individual, depends on the circumstances. It depends what's going on. Some people might not even know they're doing that. That's the crazy part. Or if they do really understand that, and that's a real serious problem, they're going to step away from that. Like, as an example, this year, like, shit, Crumb, you know how much I love my friends and how much I care for them. But I just got to the point that they just got so fucking toxic because they're stuck in their own headspace. I went, that's it. We're done. It's been 10 years. It's over. I've laid down so many times just to get along. I'm not doing that anymore. It's over. And that
Yeah.
was really hard for me to do because there were some friends who I really cared for and really loved. And the thing is that I would lay down in traffic for them time and time and time again. But when the bus came over for me, they didn't try to stop it, didn't reciprocate back in kind. They go, oh, well, reciprocate it, whatever. And they just kept moving on. And I don't know, maybe I should have said something earlier than later, but long story short, some people don't even know that. Like, I had this really good friend of mine. When I first met him, basically, he was awesome. He really, really was a very genuine, caring individual. But over time, he just get more and more corrupt in his own projects and his own pursuits, and just wasn't the same person anymore. And that was hard. Because the
Yeah.
thing is that over the time, I always, talked to him and basically found out that older friends of his that were in the media and stuff like that cut ties with him over stupid shit. And it's like, fuck. In the beginning, I kind of felt really bad for him because these were friends that he met before he met me, type of thing. And these were decent, solid people. And this kept happening and happening and happening and happening. And of course, being friends with someone, good friends, you just kind of stick with your buddies and be there when they're down type of thing. But then it became my turn, and I kind of went, okay.
Well, you would
This is,
hope that friends would stick up for you.
yeah, and the thing is, I went, this is the line. This is the line, and I don't draw lines until I have to.
Yeah.
And if you cross over it, that's it. And the thing is that this is something I don't like doing, but something that's very, very easy for me to do due to unfortunate circumstances when I was growing up. But he crossed it twice.
Yeah.
I went, no.
Well, like Booster 114 is saying, is that
Oh,
Vic said
sorry.
it best. Vic said it best. Some sad little person will go out and destroy people for just 60 likes. It's like, yeah, but noticed I want more. No, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree. People will sell out their friends for literally nothing now.
pretty much.
Pretty much. And like, I'm going to share something
All right.
that was a bit more on a personal side. Not many people know about it. So basically, I had the privilege of having a bit of time with Vic during when he came up to Kitchener Comic Con. Obviously, I wanted to focus the time when he was at the convention. I didn't want to be interfering with it. I let him have his time with his fans.
Yeah.
So after the event, we had a couple dinners with him. We had a couple lunches with him and the guests, and so I had a chance to have a really heartfelt conversation with him. And one of the things that he was talking about was like, how do you deal with these people? Like what can you do, honestly?
Yeah.
He's like, because it's like there's so many things that you want to do to these people. It's like you could literally you could easily, like, when you're someone like Vic Mignogna and you have that much of a pull,
Yeah.
you could easily just crush them. You could easily have your fan base just like you could easily just direct your fan base to be like, just destroy these people, because like you have 10 times the amount of fans, like loyal fans, than they do detractors against you, right? So easily. So and he doesn't want to do that, obviously. So he's like, well, what the hell can I do? He's like, I can, like, there's only so many cheeks I can turn. So I gave him this piece of advice, and I'm really happy to see that he's putting it forward. And I really implore people, if you have stories to share, do it. Like, please
do it.
do it. But basically, I gave him this piece of advice. I said, these people that are coming after you, these people, and this goes for everybody out there, right? These people that are speaking ill against you, these people that are taking actions against you, the people that are selling you out for literally likes, virtual likes on social media.
Yeah.
These people are damaged, and they're never going to take more damage than they can give themselves. So like literally nothing you can do be worse than what they've already done to themselves.
Pretty much.
Right? So at that point, then what do you do to I guess not get back at them, but what do you do to better yourself or get in a better spot for yourself? Because you can't save them at that point. There's no way around it. You can't do anything to help them. I told Vic, what you need to do is you need to raise everyone else up around them, because they're constantly pulling everyone around them down, and they're holding everybody down. And I said, if you start raising people up around them, you start pulling people up, and you start ignoring the crap that they're trying to pull, and you start raising people up and sharing the positivity, sharing the good stories, sharing the good times, that will force them to say, okay, everyone else around me is now being raised up and pulled up, and I'm down here. So they have a choice to either stay there and be alone, or they have a choice to get better themselves.
Yeah. Or they keep going down that negative path and get further lost in their own idiocies.
But that's not our
exactly. Yep.
issue, right?
Yep. You got it.
They're choosing to be that way.
Yep.
And so it's like, as a person, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that I've done many, many times for people, and I don't avoid controversy. I deal with it. Right?
Oh, heaven forbids you do.
I cut it off. I cut it off at the knee. So when it comes down to it, like I've had a number of situations where I've had to cut people out of my life. Yeah. And it's for the simple fact that, like you said, they just get so wrapped up in themselves, and they think that they're right, and they think that they're doing the right thing or the whatever else. They think that they're so righteous, and they don't listen. They don't need to listen to anybody else, and whatever else.
Yeah.
And they're so toxic, and they're really really negative people,
Yeah.
and they think that they could do no wrong. So, as a friend, I can't control what they do.
Yeah.
Number one, like, you can't control what anyone else can do.
Yeah.
Period. But you can control what you do.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, it's like, okay, I can sit here and I can enable that person. Like, I can keep telling that person it's okay to act that way, and I can keep trying to keep trying to save them or whatever else. Or I can tell them, look, the way that you're acting right now is not right. I don't support it, and I'm not going to support it. If you continue acting that way, you're going to do it without me.
Yeah.
And that gives them the choice if they want to get better or if they want to stay where they are.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm picking myself up. And if they don't want to get up with me, then they're left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially in those cases, it really depends on the individual. Because if they're coming from a lot of place of hurt and stuff like that, obviously there has to be some more slack that needs to be given. But if they're completely cohesive in their own mindset, then that's what you're going to have to do.
Well, that's the thing. How much slack is enough?
Well, it really comes down to the individual in the case, I suppose.
But that's the thing, though. It's
Yep.
defining how much do you want to compromise yourself for somebody else, because it's a very slippery slope. Because it's something that can happen very, very subtly. Because all of a sudden, if you're making compromises, this has happened in relationships for me in the past. And I'm just going to talk strictly about stuff that I've dealt with. I've compromised my morals. I've compromised my values before to appease other people, to try and make it better for other people, to try and fit in, and have friends, whatever else. And that doesn't go well 10 times out of 10. And so I learned a long time ago that, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore, because these people don't actually care. And then it's only at that point when I have stepped up and said, you've gone far beyond what I've deemed to be acceptable. We're done. It's only at that point that they realize that, holy shit, like, what have I done here? I need to repair this. And at that point, it's too. I mean, you're trying to piece together cinders at that point. And Action Toys channel says sounds more like you find out who your real friends are, and they're letting the door hit them on the way out. Absolutely, that is 100% what it is. But you have to ask yourself. You have to set that line for yourself as to when is it acceptable for me to say enough is buck enough. Because you can keep making excuses like, oh, it's just, they're just having a bad day, or this is just the way they are. This is blah 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 blah. When is enough enough?
Well, again, I guess it comes down to the different shades of gray. Depends on the individual. A lot of depending on that.
It's so weird, because like you'll have people that at a drop of a pin have no problem selling people out. And this goes back to what we were talking about originally.
Yeah.
Because they want to make $1.
Yeah.
Because they make money. And I'm not saying it's like, if people want to make money, more power to them. I'm not sitting here, festering because people are making thousands of dollars off the back of somebody else. That's not a problem. But I mean, at the end of the day, like oil, that is a finite resource, because you only have so many people to make fun of. You only have so many people to burn down before they're like self-deleting.
Yeah, for sure. I want to just jump back a little bit, just a little bit. It's one of the questions we're asking, where you draw that line, what's going on, and so forth. The only thing I could possibly interject with all of that is that I guess you have to look at the back of when the friendship was first happening and what was going on in that particular relationship, and wondering what's really changed that individual. And I guess from that point, you got to figure out if you want to be with them or not. Because the thing is that it really depends on the hurt of the other person. It also depends on the relationship of the other person. And the thing is that it's sometimes it's it's difficult to draw that line and say, you know what, we have to put this over here or over there type of thing. But again, there's a lot to unpack with that, because again, with my relationship with the person that threw me under the bus for the last time, that individual was going through some difficulties. But the thing is that those difficulties they've been going through for a very long time. And you would think that they would have a better handle over it. But again, maybe drumming up excuses, maybe not drumming up excuses. Who really knows? I just know that with my 10-year relationship with my friend, there was just a lot that was going on with that. But at the end of the day, the communication I was getting from him was nothing but toxic. It wasn't anything positive. There wasn't no growth in the relationship. He was constantly not doing things with me anymore. He was basically going back on business deals I had with him. Um, just to give you another example with that particular that particular friendship, he was involving in relationships in meetings that he had to pretend that I didn't exist.
Yeah.
At that point in time, you
Like,
have
what are
to
you doing at
examine.
that point?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that when you find all that out and that starts percolating, it's like, what the fuck is going on? Because the thing is that sometimes, like, just fuck, sometimes when a person's going through a lot of pain or they're going through real first time corrections and stuff like that, that's where I honestly believe the charity needs to come in. And depending on how long you've been with the person, how long the relationship is, that should wait on that. I also believe communication is also very important, because if you go up to someone and slap them and say, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Maybe, just maybe, they're not quite getting it because they're going through their own problems. But if they start attending meetings, they have to pretend that you don't fucking exist, and they're saying negative shit behind your back. I'm not talking like the light stuff. You know, you hear in theater like, oh, this person's fat, or this person's hair stupid, or they got dumb fingernails, the case. But we're talking like the real hurtful, vile shit that people could say.
Yeah.
That's that's problematic. And I personally think at that point in time, depending on relationship, depending on what's going on, maybe you gotta sit down and talk to them and say, look, I heard this. What the fuck's going on? Like,
Well,
come on.
at what point does talking become ineffective, though?
Well, I think I could honest answer that. It depends on the situation. It depends on the person. It depends on what's going on in their lives. Like, as an example, with my friend of 10 years, as I mentioned before, he was going through a lot of physical pain. But at the same time here, this is something that's going on for a while. But if somebody just, I guess when somebody's going through something that's very, very abrupt, very recent, they're still wrapping the head around it. I think that is where the allowances really need to come in, because that's where the relationship really starts taking root. Because as I keep saying, it's easy to do the best things in good times. It's so fucking easy. It's so easy to agree. It's so easy to be happy. It's so easy to move forward. But the true call of a relationship is where things start hitting the shitty points. Like, are they going to be with you thick and thin? And if they're not, then fuck them. But the thing is that if they are, then maybe that person's really going through a severe low point. And I think that's where the real call of a person's integrity and the relationship really starts coming in. Because the thing is that, people could have rough spots here and there, but if a person's really going through a rough time, I mean, really going through a rough time, and if you're their friend, and if you're really good friends, then that's where that has to come in. It's like, hey, look, you're being a bit of a fucking idiot. We're going to put you over there for right now. I'll be here for you, etc., etc. But if the person's throwing you under the fucking bus day in and day out, and just basically using your energy to make money from not cluing you in, not doing anything positive with you, and you're there in that pool of negative shit, then yeah, that's where you need to cut it. But before you cut it, you gotta go up top and say, look, what the fuck are you doing? And if the communication is no longer there, like, yeah, I have to cut it, because one of the few things that I was pissed off with my friend of 10 years, instead of coming to me and talking to me about it, this fucking guy starts doing X, Y, and Z, not fully knowing exactly what the hell is going on. And the thing is, after 10 years, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Really?
That's what I mean, though. It's like, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think what we've lost in the past X amount of years
Yeah.
is the definition of what a friend is, because
I completely agree.
the advent of social media has defined friendship as a click of a button.
I was just gonna fucking say that, because you throw the social media on there, and you have those 8 people that are whispering stupid shit in your fucking head, and you gotta figure out who your real friends are. You know, it's like everything's on social media. It's all about optics.
So one person who I do consider a friend,
Yeah.
I've never met this person. I've literally,
Yeah.
I've only ever talked to them on Twitch. Really, really great person, and I'd love to share a beer with him one time. But basically, like during one of his live streams, we were chatting back and forth, and we were talking about everything else, and just shooting the shit, whatever else, as he was playing video games. And he said something really, really important. He said, that like people don't, without getting into too much details,
Yeah.
people don't get a picture of you through small talk. He says, like, they don't, people, at least nowadays, don't give each other the chance to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Because, like, when it comes down for me, a lot of people don't understand who I am. Like, I'm quiet, sure. I'm reserved with a lot of stuff. I'm like an iceberg, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see or understand the good of a person because they don't give them the time beyond small talk. And you can't get that from small talk with people. Like,
No.
for example, if only your interactions with someone is when you volunteer at a convention and you see them during or you see them like during work here, whatever else, you don't actually know that person. So like you can call them a quote unquote friend. You might be friends on Facebook. You might see what they're choosing you to let you see. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's like when people stop, like when people pretend like they don't know you.
Yeah.
At that point, is it really about communication? Is it really about that? Because I don't think it's about communication at that point. I think it's they have already made a decision about a person at that point. I think that they're just trying to take advantage of connections and trying to.
I can understand that. I guess to answer that, it's really depending on this set of circumstances. It depends on what's going on.
Well, everything's relative, of course.
Of course. Again, friends and acquaintances, right? Like, who's an acquaintance? Who's a friend?
Exactly.
Who's a really good friend? Who's an ex-lover? Who's this? Who's that? And it really depends on. It all depends on a sense of family, doesn't it?
It does.
Because the thing is that without that fully in play, who's really being genuine at that point in time? If the other person keeps saying, "Oh, we're this and we're that, we're this and that," it's like, okay, there's going to be like with family, there's going to be great times and there's going to be thin times. You could cross your fingers and hope that the thin times are far and few in between, but sometimes it gets a little more involved, and that's family. That is how that works. And the word family, at least in my definition, is something you don't throw around arbitrarily, because one of the few things I never liked, I'm just going to get a little bit real here, just for 0.2 seconds, heaven forbids, do it. All right, fine. Is that when I was playing and setting up and running the best goddamn live action role playing games in Southern Ontario, and I could say that unequivocally, One of the few things I hated when I was a player is when other players came up to me and said, "Hey, you know what? We're all involved in this game. We're like a family. You know, we all work together. We all do this and we all do that." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
so
you,
we're
you you
we're,
spend
we're
a
a
lot of time together,
family."
so you're automatically a family.
Well,
Yeah,
no, no, not quite. No, no,
that's
no, no, no,
that's
no. There's a bit, just
yeah,
a little bit more to that. It wasn't the fact that we're a family and we're working together at this role playing of the mind's eye thing. It was a matter that the fucking asshole was trying to manipulate me in giving my personal power 100% of it without getting anything back.
yeah.
That's where that came into. And one of the few things that I didn't like moving from that point forward, because again, we're talking about me here, is that I felt every time that someone used the word, well, we're family, we're gonna work this out, we're gonna work out automatically. From the back of my neck, at someone just said, "Oh, what the fuck do you want? Really? Like you're trying to manipulate my family button?" Like a lot of people don't know this about me is that when I extend that olive branch to to a friend or a family member or something like I've got a very small family. Why? Because those are people who I depend on through the hard times. And I hope they could depend on me through the hard times as well. And that's where that comes in. A friend or heaven forbid an acquaintance, they're not part of that. When it comes down to it, it's none of their fucking business. But again, getting back to the whole family aspect of things, that's where that really, really bugged me like a lot. And it's just opening up that second layer of things. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. And at the same time, getting back to my buddy, I really consider him to be, was he part of my family? I would say no. He didn't. We like I gave him Christmas gifts, never gave me Christmas gifts, and I was okay with that because I just wanted him and his wife to be happy, and that was fine. But I wasn't really giving anything for the sake of getting back. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted him to be happy. That's it. But over the 10 years, I realized that that person never gave me anything. And I had to stop and look at that going, where's the reciprocal aspect of that? And there wasn't any. And getting back to to the LARP players and stuff like that, it's just really, really unfortunate people have to do that type of thing.
Well,
It really
and
is.
that's a very interesting point, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like there are people that take advantage of that. I think just mostly because they don't understand the gravity
Yeah.
of the word. I mean, they've
Yeah.
maybe these people have always just had peripheral friends. They've never had like a
Yeah, yeah,
best friend.
exactly. It's like using the word love and hate for fuck's sakes.
Yeah,
When like Crumb, I got to be honest with you. How often do I use the L word? Well,
not
like
much.
really? And do you know why? Because in my little toolbox of words I like to use, love and hate are the two strongest words you could ever fucking use, especially when you're trying to make a point. Sometimes you could throw around for fun and stuff like that. No problem. You know what I mean? But I remember in a previous relationship I used to have, um, this is relationship number 3. She kept coming up to me and saying, people use the word love all the time, and there's no real meaning behind it, and it lost all of its meaning. And I looked her straight and I said, I love you, right? Like, I don't use that word too often. You know that. And she goes, well, yeah, but my other friends, you keep using all the time. I'm like, well, those are your other friends. I don't know what to say about them.
Well,
And
words.
I could get back to family. A lot of people really don't understand what that means, or heaven fucking forbids, even our conversation. A lot of people don't know what fucking friends really means. It's like, hey, look, oh, I've got Facebook. I've got over 2K in friends. These people don't know what your fucking favorite color is. They don't know who, in our
Yeah.
situation, they don't know what your favorite Pokemon is. They don't know when your birth date is. They don't know what fucking your eye color is, for God's sakes. Just keep playing around in Photoshop. And the thing is that, are these people really your friends? No, they're not. And the thing is, that's all social manipulation. They could be great acquaintances. Maybe they could be, people you could call on and ask for $20 every once in a while, but that's as far as it goes. And the thing is that when it comes down to deep root relationships, it's going to be messy. It's going to be icky. It's not going to be clean. It's not going to be, sanitized or anything else like that. You're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs. And that's where real friendship and family comes from.
Well,
And
that's one thing that's really
yeah,
interesting. It's words. Words are defined as much they have as much power as we give them.
Yeah, and they
Right?
have, and the thing is that they do have weight and meaning, but again, it all depends on how they're being used. Because
It's
again,
a really funny currency online.
it
Right?
is, and also with English, the words keep changing too. The principle of the situation is different from the principal in the high school.
Well, here's a really funny little conundrum, right?
Yeah,
Because people put value on really weird things.
yeah,
Like
that's true.
some people put value on the number in their bank account. Some
Yeah,
people put value on the number behind their friends list on Facebook.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
right now, social media really puts a heavy number behind how many people are following you,
Yeah,
how many people are subscribed to you,
yeah.
because all of a
How many
sudden,
people like your posts?
yeah,
How
how
many
many
people
people like your
share your
posts.
posts?
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, because like from a
Mhm.
marketing perspective, that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah,
But for everyone else, it doesn't. But
yeah,
applying marketing rules to
yep.
interpersonal relationships is a very weird thing to me.
It's like the ongoing social experiment, isn't it?
It's a very, very weird thing to me. So, like,
Yep.
from a marketing perspective, bigger numbers mean bigger influence, which is good for marketing. But
Yes.
here's the thing:
Yeah.
at what point did it mean that I have 2 million followers on Instagram means that my opinion is more important and more valuable than somebody who doesn't have 10,000 followers
Or even 100 for that
or
matter.
even 100 followers?
Yeah.
Because my opinion is more important because I have more followers.
I'm
When
an
did that become a
influencer.
thing?
I'm an online influencer. I say the color purple is a great color, and everyone goes out and buys it. How incredibly odd.
Well, like here's the thing. Like I saw this on Twitch
Mhm.
as being a Twitch streamer myself. I found this out on Twitch, and it was jarring, which is why I'm never really going to put a whole lot of stock into becoming like huge on like
Yeah.
any social media platform. I just do this for fun.
Yeah.
Like people out there, don't get me wrong. I'm not making this show because I'm trying to be a big celebrity.
And I'm part of this show as well because I really dig where this is all coming from.
So like so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I came to the realization, like, if I drop dead tomorrow, it's like I have like roughly 1,200 people following me, quote unquote, on Twitch.
Yeah.
If I drop dead tomorrow, I don't think any one of those people that are following me on Twitch would know or care. Like, here's the thing.
Well, yep.
I know
Go on, sorry.
somebody
Yep.
I know somebody on Twitch who had like built his channel around the same time that I did. We streamed the same stuff, like I supported him, he supported me, back and forth, blah blah blah. He had a really good community. He was really pushing hard, like he was a lot
Yeah.
harder than I was,
Yeah.
and he ended up getting partner on
Yeah.
Twitch, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I was super happy for him.
Awesome.
Because we got affiliate around the same time, and he ended up getting partner. And it was really, really good for him. About a month after he got partnered, his Twitch channel got suspended for something. Like it basically got permanently disabled.
Ooh.
And basically he couldn't stream anymore. So the thing is like he just stopped streaming for a while. And I'm like, well, what the heck happened to him? And I couldn't find any way to contact him or anything else like that. I'm like, I guess he's just.
Yeah.
When I got to that thought, I'm like, well, maybe he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But then I didn't find out until later when he tweeted about it that his Twitch channel got banned, and there's so many people, like he had thousands of people following him, thousands, like he had hundreds of people in his stream a day, and he had 3 people on Twitter asking for updates, asking him where he was. So it's like you have so many you have so many virtual numbers behind your name.
Yeah.
How many of those people, like if you disappeared from a platform tomorrow?
Yeah.
So like look at your favorite streamer, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll take one of our streamers, Angry Pug, that we watch all the time.
Yeah.
Just as an example.
Pug's awesome. Yeah.
And he regularly streams to about 3,000-4,000 people. He has 10,000 subscribers. 10,000 people paying him money.
Yep.
If he stopped streaming tomorrow and he didn't stream for a year, I guarantee you he'd still have at least half of those subscribers.
Yep.
But they wouldn't even know what happened to him. They wouldn't even know that he stopped streaming.
Yep. No, that's for sure. For sure. You're absolutely correct.
You know what they would do? Oh, he hasn't streamed for a month? I'm going to find someone else to watch.
True. True. But if you're a fan or a friend or a colleague, I'm pretty sure you're going to follow him wherever he's going to. Depending on your relationship, you could always ask him how he's doing and where he's at.
But that's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like when you look at these people,
Yep.
and I'm super happy for people that hit milestones. Don't get me wrong. There's a few, like I see so many people online on my Facebook and on my Twitter that are losing their minds because they have 10,000 followers on TikTok, or they have 100,000 followers on Instagram, or they just hit that milestone. It's like, that's great. And then I see them be absolute wrecks because socially, because they don't have
skills
10,000 people.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they don't have 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't go to a Tim Hortons and have 10,000 people show up and want your autograph.
That'd be kind of cool, though. But
it would be kind of cool, but that's not how social media works.
Of course,
it's not a one-to-one scenario.
Yeah.
And like, so here's the thing: you don't have 10,000 people there. Like, you have it virtually, and you might have a few hundred people that check your stuff regularly.
Yeah.
However, when it comes down to, oh, you did something wrong, you have people you've never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
Coming up and going up your ass.
Of course, and kicking you in the head along the same way and stuff like that. Yeah. And the thing is that it's, oh God, how can I explain this? One of the few things that I'm putting together for myself personally on a professional level and on other levels as well, not personally, but on different levels, is fame. And how's that been changed? Like, as an example, doing the Comic-Con and the event stuff, it's really, and also the radio show stuff and the TV stuff and blah, 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 blah. It's really, really different seeing an all-rounded talent. What I mean by that, if you mention their name, do people come up from the woodwork to see that person? And how are they when they actually get involved with that? And it's just really interesting because, again, with fame from traditional media, you get all these fans, stuff like that, and you could separate distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because the thing is that you have a television you got to click on, or you have a newspaper you need to open, or you have a radio that you need to turn on. With social media, they're there all the time. And now what's going on, depending on how much you get involved with your media stuff, is it a radio that you turn on, or is this stuff on all the time? And at the same time, with the other individuals, are they really your friends, or are they falling for the romance of, they think we have a relationship with you, and they're getting fantasies in their head and stuff like that? And it's like, my God. And the thing is that that's the biggest thing, the people that have fame as well, especially from traditional media. You have the psychopaths that come up and say, oh, we loved each other for so long, and we did this and we did that, and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the guys are looking like, I've never fucking met you in my life. Who are you? I wrote you a letter back 2 years ago, but it's sort of like that. Oh, what is it? Stan from Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the whole fame of things. And the thing is that since we're going through this new transition of things, how do you deal with that? Because, example, in your case, with your friend who, your colleague, that they had a connection with, and all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. The thing is that, again, that was a relationship that you had with your colleague through the whole Twitch platform. You guys were working with each other and stuff like that. Totally awesome. But the thing is that, let's just say that wasn't there, and all of a sudden, like, when the fuck did he go? And people who are involved with the exposure medium will go from one thing to another thing very, very quickly. But at the same time here, it all depends on how the platform's set up. Example, going back to Facebook. Everyone's your friend on Facebook. Doesn't give you the ability to say, nope, this person is a colleague. This person's a hanger on.
It does now.
But the funny thing is that if you look within a person's profile, like, as an example, there's
you
a friend
can't tell in the friends list.
Exactly. Like, there's a friend of mine who suffers from anxiety issues. Okay, cool. No problem. Get it. No problem. He's got over 4,000 friends.
Yeah.
I've known this guy for 8 fucking years. He doesn't have 4,000 friends, because if he did, he'd never leave home. He'd be on the computer all the time and making those connections and going through the ups and lows we just talked about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, and also on top of that, as you mentioned as well, again, a light bulb moment here, if you will, it all comes back down to marketing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, you got 4,000 friends. Isn't this great? And oh, by the way, on our social media platform, we now have this option. Wait for it. For you to buy into. So you can talk to all of your friends as much as you want.
Well, here's the interesting part too, and I guess the dangerous part.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you'd have like 4,000 or 5,000 friends on your Facebook. You're not going to have 4,000 or 5,000 friends at your funeral, unfortunately.
This is
That's
true.
the sad part. But here's the dangerous part. If you've never met these people, or like at least had a conversation with them, and you're allowing them onto your social platform,
your personal social platform,
your personal information, your stories, your everything is being shared with people that you've never even met. Like, you've just virtually know that they exist. And these people could be using your information for God knows what.
Of course.
But when you're getting up there in like 4,000 or 5,000, whatever else, even on Instagram, when you have like 10, 15,000, even on Twitter, when you have 100,000 people, like, you have people that you don't even know are following you.
Yeah.
And you could say something innocuous in the world that we live in now.
Oh, yeah.
And people could find out exactly where you live. People could find out exactly where you work. They could find out all of your information.
And regardless how careful you are.
Like, honestly, we were having this chat with one of our team members, Harley, about how it's like, no, you know, XYZ person is super careful with their information online, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, let me tell you a story. Okay, let me tell you a story. They you know, super careful with their information online. All right, well, they have a Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah.
So you have their first and last name. Okay, awesome. So you look through their social media. They don't have a birthday listed. Okay, that's fine.
That's smart.
However, on like June 2nd, they have their mom coming in saying, "Oh, happy birthday."
Happy birthday.
Oh, well, here we go.
Well, there we go. And plus, you referenced that a couple years back because you've been using the same social media platform for over a decade. Well, look, Mummy came on at the exact same time every single year, like clockwork.
Well, and here's the thing, right? And ladies, like, we're pretty guilty about this. Celebrating your sweet 16. Don't ever put that on social media.
Oh, yes.
Don't ever keep the memories to Polaroids. Don't post it online, because if you post pictures of your sweet 16, guess what people have? Your exact fucking birth year.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they have your full name, they have your full date of birth. Yeah. If your mom is commenting on your Facebook page and she like got divorced or whatever, they have your mother's maiden name. They have all of this information.
And on top of that, they have your aunts, your uncles, your nephews, your cousins.
Exactly.
And you can line it right up really, really quickly. Like, one of the few things I did in social media, my I forget who it was. It was my mom or my dad. When I sort of looked at when I looked at one of my parents, I honestly forgot which one it was. I said, "Look, we can't be friends on Facebook." And my parent went, "Why is that?" I go, "I'm involved with media. I don't want people knowing what your maiden name is. I don't want people knowing what your home address is, or what my birth date is." Like, as an example, my birth date online is completely different from my birth date that I celebrate with my friends with. Completely different.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when it comes down to it, I'm okay with that. But a lot of people just get so honest with their information. It's stupid. And they kind of forget that when you are the product, that says something. The question is, who's selling the product and to whom? Who's really the influencer? Because, again, getting back to the Instagram thing, you may have 12 billion, gazillion, quadrillion tons of people on your social media, but isn't it kind of funny that the social media platform is now tied to that name?
Well, it's
interesting.
Exactly. and here's another funny part, right?
Yeah,
So
I
like
like fun.
whenever I'm meeting people,
Mhm.
and talking to people and whatever else, I don't ask a lot of questions because I mean it.
I've noticed that. I really, really have. Sorry.
But here's the thing though.
Yep.
I know more about most people than people would
No.
think
Yeah.
because here's the thing: paying attention to things
Yeah.
and like observing things, you get much more of an honest response than if you ask somebody X, Y, or Z. Because I don't
Yeah.
want the curated responses. I don't want the curated answers.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, I can say oh, what's your favorite food? And you could say, trying to impress me, oh, I really like, fruits and vegetables.
Mhm.
But I'm noticing that you're constantly eating cake. Well, I think the cake is your favorite food at that point,
Yep.
right? Like it's like, oh, yeah, sure. You might want to say like, I'm a fan of vegan food and blah blah blah. But like, I noticed that you eat like
Yeah, hamburger.
bacon all the time.
Dude, you're wearing a bacon shirt.
Exactly. So it's stuff like that. It's like you can ask anybody anything, but people lie all
Yeah,
the time.
they do. They do. See, the funny thing is, from my end of things,
Booster's
uh,
favorite food is pizza.
see, the funny thing is that from some of the professions you've been a part of, that stuff is very important, almost to the point that it's what's the right word I'm looking for here? To the point that it's so necessary. You need to have that to be alive. From some of the industry stuff that I'm a part of, which, for better or for worse, I look sometimes I look at lying and I have to gauge it. Is it important? Not important? Is this really how the person is? Do I want to get involved in a relationship with this type of person, type of thing? How far can I trust this person when it comes to type of stuff? And that's goes a little bit beyond than making sure that what type of favorite foods they have. But again, it depends on the individual and where they're coming from with
Well,
things.
it's about truthiness, right?
Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
serious though.
Yeah. No. 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 No.
It's
I
about
know what you
being
mean.
like
I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's a
You're
difference
absolutely right. Yeah.
between being completely truthful
Truthful and
and then
truthiness.
truthiness.
Yep.
Like it's like, okay, well, you have to ask yourself, and like, I've run into this situation a number of times where
Yeah.
someone's asked something like completely innocuous, and I answer in a very omissive way of certain things.
Omissive. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm just writing that down.
Basically, it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna give you an answer, but I'm not gonna give you the whole thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the Tele Latino channel, right?
Here's a little bit for you. Yep.
It's like the Tele Latino channel for those in Canada here. It's like they show a lot. Like they don't show everything, but they show a lot, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I take the TLN approach. I don't tell everything, but I tell a lot.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's like if people can take a look at that and it's like, all right, well, observe my actions, you can probably piece things together. You could probably figure things out.
Yeah.
If you know me personally. Now
Yeah.
that's different. That I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of people out there that tried to do this shit to me before. It's different than what I do online. If you see me acting and talking online, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Right? You can piece together God knows how many different combinations, like a different, and you can Rubik's cube it together as much as you want. The fact of the matter is, it's like, if you strictly only know me from my online postings, you've never heard me talk, like verbally, you've never spoken to me, you probably don't know who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, spend some time with me, spend some time talking to me, you'll find out who I am. I'm a pretty down to earth person. I don't hide a lot. I'm pretty much straight up with like most of the stuff I talk about. Because the best thing about that is if you're open and you're honest about shit, you don't have stuff to hide.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. But the fact of the matter is, like, obviously, there's going to be things that people don't tell you. They're going to put the best front. They're going to put the best front forward for you, and that's just nature.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You got it. See, with me, my online personality, I'm hoping is different from my real life personality.
Serial killer in Animal Crossing. This booster. I have to finish that. Yeah, that's
You
it's so funny.
do,
It's
you
so
do,
funny.
ma'am. You have to get back on that horse.
I have another episode brewing.
That's awesome.
I've just been taking photos.
Uh, but the thing is that again with me, we're separate. It was like a combination of a couple of different things. But again, if people know me for my online personality, I don't think they really know me as an individual because again, it's good times, hard times, and stuff like that. And it's difficult to portray that stuff. And the funny thing is that getting back to baseball type of stuff, I think a lot of people go on social media, and I like the two of us, they don't have any of those soft and hard skills, so they're putting themselves out there all the time. So
Well,
those are
it's yeah. People, social media is like a curse like that because
yeah,
you kind of are out there all the time. You
yeah.
don't really have an option
And
anymore.
if you keep putting your heart in your sleeve all the time, it's like, whoo. Like again, when I do my receptive character, I like being over the top with the character. You know what I mean? And it's just that truthiness, that Stephen Colbert type like aspect of things, and it's fun. You know what I mean? Because again, when I'm like doing stage and stuff like that, or I'm playing other characters, I'm playing a character. I'm not really being myself, and it's kind of tough to have that in real time with real people and real friends and family and stuff like that. Because again, a lot of people just judge you for the likes that you have on the social media stuff or your 10,000 billion quadrillion followers and stuff like that. And it's just
So here was a bit of a social experiment that I did in LARP.
all right.
All right.
What'd you
So in one of the LARPs that I played, the very, very first character ever that I played was an assassin. It was
really?
a very like
Okay.
hard, like hot-headed, very brash, very in your face, very rude
Yeah.
assassin.
Yeah.
And so that character,
Cool.
um, honestly, without surprise, people did not like me in the general sense. There's people that got to know the character and that really liked
Yeah.
the character because it was fun and whatever else, wholesome. But
Yeah.
for the most part, people did not like me
Yeah. Of
because
your
of that.
character.
And
Yeah.
then I found out that trickled into real life because people assumed.
Ooh.
No, here's the
Yeah.
thing:
Yeah.
people assumed that how I played the character was how I was outside of the game,
Oh boy.
and
Yeah.
so there was a bunch of people that didn't like me because of that. And
Yeah.
then so like, fast forward years later, I played a different game, brand new game, different set of people, different set of everything. I played a healer.
Yeah.
I played a cleric for the
Yeah.
very first from the get go, and very soft spoken, very caring, very
Mhm.
altruistic, etc., etc. Surprise, surprise! Everybody in the game loved me.
Yeah.
Everybody, and
Oh.
that translated again
Sorry.
outside
Yeah.
of game. Everyone assumed that I was outside of game exactly like my character was.
Yeah.
It was really, really weird.
You know what? I like to jump in with that just a little bit, if I may. I'm assuming this is in the last 5 years. Yeah.
It's within the last decade.
The last decade. Okay. The funny thing is, I've been playing LARP since the mid '90s, and when I got involved with LARP stuff, you're just playing a character. And one of the few things that with my time being served for good behavior, of course, is that this was mentioned at the beginning of every single game. The reason being is that for the lunches afterwards, where a lot of networking got done and stuff like that, the thing is that people could get to know other people on more of a one-on-one basis and stuff like that type of thing. And because of that, it was really a lot of fun. And players who were taking things way too seriously were given timeouts and stuff like that. Like they weren't kicked out of the game. It's like, hey, look, you know what? You've been running around a lot. Here's a broom. Just sweep up for a little bit. Take some time off. Just figure out what's going on and stuff like that. So again, a lot of LARPs don't do that, and because of that, then you start running into problems that you currently have. Um, and that's that's the tough part with LARPs in the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, because again, everyone's basing on the character that you're playing versus who you are as a people, and some people put themselves too much in character, and that could have a really negative effect as well. So it's like it's tough. And then another thing is that let's go full circle here, and we start talking about social media stuff. Example with me, like some people know me as Recepit, and that's cool, but that's as a character I play. My other profiles I have as Ronald Hop, don't have a lot of friends on that, and I sort of did that purposely. So, anyways, getting back to your stuff, it's sort of like it's really really tough when people just know you as a character. They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And the thing is that trying to make those real connections is even that much tougher because they don't know who you are except for the assassin extraordinaire. It's like shit.
And I can be very and in terms of LARP, I can be very cunning. Like I can be very heartless, very cold, very
Yeah.
calculated. I can also be very altruistic, very people RP too deep sometimes, says Action Toys channel. No, I agree. And I mean, like I can be very like, you know, in the middle of the action. Like for example, the healer that I played was a pacifist. Did not want to fight, did not want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But when they saw somebody in danger, they saw somebody bleeding out, or they saw like someone getting like crushed by a monster, be the first person to run out there and save them.
Yeah.
First person to get in between them and like and try to save that person.
Yeah.
Whereas like the assassin character, I had no problem. Well, I'm not going to say the assassin had no problem.
Yeah.
Distracting.
Yeah.
Distracting somebody while they knew someone else was going in and like cutting the throat of somebody else.
Yeah.
Like that was just a thing. Like whereas like two completely different sides
Of course, yeah.
Of whatever else. Like one would be mortified, the other one would be no problem with it. But.
Yep, I know exactly what you mean because there was a client of mine named Vince, who played this guy named Jacob Black or something like that type of thing. He was a Tremere, played a Tremere all the time. He played a nice guy Tremere, but he was a Tremere. And some of the stuff that he would tell me from player to storyteller, oh my gosh, holy fuck, this guy was just perfect. High marks all around. But on the surface, all the players loved him. He was a great guy, always there to help you out. But every once in a while, the character had that slight tingling sensation. And then, however, he turned around and played an Asimite. Oh my God. The player's personality completely changed. And how the player pool was sort of looking at him after a while, it's like, no, he's just playing a character. You got to keep that in mind.
Exactly.
So it's like, goodness gracious. And the thing is that he was still Vince outside of game and stuff like that. And people really liked where he was coming from and stuff like that.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's one of those things. Like, I think that we as a society, just people in general, I think we need to do better at learning each other and getting to know each other.
That's a relationship
outside of just looking at someone's timeline or like looking at somebody's Facebook posts or Instagram, etc., right? Because like going back to Vic's situation, look at all the shit that is going on. I mean, like Ron Toye just got suspended from Twitter recently. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people, but it's like these people were throwing stones. These people were doing X, Y, Z, and they're saying, "Oh, well, you don't know him. You don't know us. You don't know this." Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, we're probably never gonna know. We're never gonna know the real Vic Mignogna. We're never gonna know the real Monica Rial, right?
Yeah,
it's like we're not in a situation. I mean, 99% of the world's not in a situation where we would be able to sit down and have a chat with them and whatever else. And even at that point, they're going to put forward their best foot.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like when Vic was here, it was an amazing time. I can't remember the word. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great. So like, no issues, whatever else, and I didn't anticipate any issues.
Yeah.
But like, really genuine person. And I would assume this is like me having a very low opinion of these people, batteries included. Oh my goodness, sad looks.
I missed that. Sorry.
The internet picked up its own remote. Talking about Rontoye. Batteries included. Extra.
All right.
But yeah, so basically, I don't know anything about these people, but
Yeah.
I would assume that if we had Monica Rial or Jamie Markey at one of our events,
Mm-hmm.
there would be no issues.
Oh.
That they would be perfectly well behaved too.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm just saying that because like my guess would be that they would be doing it to honestly be on their best behavior.
Yeah.
But isn't that the fun part about human nature?
Yeah.
It's like you really do find out the true nature of somebody when they're not being watched, when they're not being observed.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely true. It all depends on what they're doing, what's going on. Bowl of candy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, and I'm not saying this as like, oh, we're pro Monica, anything else like that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Yeah.
We literally have not had a single person ask to get Monica Rial in as a guest for our event. So,
I guess we're pro cool people.
well, we're pro fans. Like
Yeah.
we listen to the fans, right?
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of people want to see Vic back next year,
Yeah.
provided that we can get a venue, and the venue's not under construction and
next
6 feet under rubble.
and next year is going to be a different year.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're now coming out, or maybe beginning to come out of this this pandemic thing that we're coming through, and who knows what things are going to look like moving forward from here. Like as an example, perfect example, go look what's happening at your favorite grocery store, and how we're going to implicate stuff like that for an event, and how is that going to work for everybody else in between. Who knows? Like I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but who knows what things are going to look like moving forward.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like we might not even be able to have regular events by the time that we're hoping to have Kitchener Comic Con for May 1st next year. We're hoping, fingers crossed. I mean, provided everything gets sorted out between now and then, we should have the event. Like, provided that we have, it's like first choice obviously would be City Hall.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But we don't know because City Hall is under construction right now. We don't know if that's going to be available.
Yeah.
So before any conspiracy theorists go out there and say, "Oh, City Hall is not going to have Kitchener Comic Con again," blah 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 blah. It's like just to give people an idea. There's a construction sign outside City Hall that says it's going until October 2021. Yeah. So we might not be able to physically have it there. We might have to have it at a different location. So
very true.
That's the only reason why the location's to be determined right now. But also, we don't know what the social distancing measures are going to be like in May,
or anything else for that,
matter.
Yeah, because as an example, Dollarama Crumb were the employees behind plexiglass.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be fucking odd that we had to put all of our guests behind some sort of plexiglass to have that barrier?
Be really weird.
Yeah, it's like, and the thing is that if events had to be kicked off now,
yeah,
I could totally see that being put into place. And the thing is that how does that induce for a decent convention experience? Oh, there's your favorite guest star. Oh, they're in a box of emotion.
They're in a hermetically sealed box.
Exactly. Because they're a collectible and it's mint condition.
but here's the other part. Here's the other part behind this, right? There are a number of things that are beyond our control.
Exactly.
Because who knows? It could be going on for another year. I hope it's not. But it could be going on for another year. But here's the thing.
One second. How many people left are allowed in the building at one time?
That's one. Yeah. Our people are going to be allowed across the border?
Well, there's that.
Like there's talk right now that the UK might, like when the UK finally does open up its borders again, they're going to be instituting a mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Yeah.
So how the fuck is that going to work if you have a guest at your convention? They fly in and they have to be quarantined for 14
days. Yeah. I can answer that, Crumb. That's not going to work. And if you really want them there, you're going to spend 14 days of money as their ass sits in quarantine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's going to be a different situation. I'm hoping by a year, like at least a little less from a year from now, because it's May 9th now.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping a little less from a year from now, things go back to normal. Worst case scenario,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to hold off a year
Yeah.
for Kitchener Comic Con, just because it just won't be feasible to hold an event. Like it won't be a good fan experience.
Yeah.
It,
or we do what we do naturally and we change the game. We
well,
make it work.
I mean, and we can, yes,
Yeah.
and we've done it before. But I mean, like ultimately, um, I, from the grand scheme of things, right? And I don't want to be doom and gloom,
Yeah, of
and
course.
because I want to cut that off right away.
Yeah.
I said this on Doug's show too,
Mhm. Mhm.
that we're in a very strong position with Kitchener Comic Con because we don't rely on the door fee to pay for our event,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't rely on fleecing the fans to come in and pay for the event, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So we have a different model, and we have a very transferable model where we can move it around,
Yeah.
and all this
Very
other
fluid.
stuff.
Very
It's
fluid.
very fluid. It has a lot of moving pieces that can be interchanged, which is
Yep.
good.
Yep.
There are other events that don't necessarily have it. It's more rigid
Yep.
in structure. That's going to break a lot of pieces
Oh, it
for
is.
them.
It is, especially the ones that built their actual kingdom around that type of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. It's that's going to be growing pains for that type of
Oh,
event.
God, yeah.
But if we have to move, like if we have to move like around, or we have to move a weekend, or we have to like pause for a year, it's
Yeah.
not really going to impact our bottom line
No.
as much as it is other events.
Oh, goodness gracious,
So
yes.
people don't need to worry about us like disappearing, because we're still going to be around, and we'll find different ways to bring stuff to the fans.
Yeah.
But like it more or less comes down to, it's like, well, if we're not physically able to hold an event, then I guess we just won't be able to.
Well, the funny thing about us is that when we really put our mind to something, we get it done, and it gets done well. And that's one of the few things about our team that works above other teams. We're very, very adaptable, and
Yeah.
we'll figure something out. And at the same time, we're all about, you know, breeding opportunity, making sure it's a true win-win situation for everybody, and working with our friends and colleagues. That's the important factor moving forward. And thank goodness for that, because just imagine if we adopted the traditional model of doing convention work. Oh, look, we're getting 50%, 60% from our door revenue. If that goes away, what are we going to do? It's like, you might have to do that.
Yeah.
Because again, one of the few things, unfortunately, that we're getting ourselves involved with is the psychological aspect of different clients. And what I mean by that is that what happens if people are afraid to go out?
That's the other
Or
part. That's
yeah,
a big part. So
oh
like the very few times that I've been able to get to work during this pandemic, because I've been quarantined most of it. I
yeah,
just had my COVID test. I think it was yesterday.
yeah.
Not a fun experience, by the way, for anybody that's wondering.
Giant
Not a
Q-tip.
fun experience. Yeah, it's like a regular size Q-tip, and they jam it into your sinuses, which
Ew,
it
ew.
sounds nice. It's not.
No, it doesn't even
It's not.
sound nice, Crump. Ooh,
If you've ever had water go up your nose when you're swimming, that's what it feels like.
ew.
Except it just like it lasts a lot longer, and yeah, it's not nice at all. So basically, so I'm waiting on the results for that. But basically, the couple of days that I managed to get into work over the past couple of months, because I've been sick and been quarantined, getting phone calls from people that were absolutely like white shit terrified. Like they were so scared about the stuff that's going on, like the pandemic and stuff like that. Like, they're afraid to leave their house.
Oh yeah, yeah. And my dad, who's like, one of my major rocks in my relationship, he's honestly frightened. And I've never seen my dad this frightened before, because he's at a certain age, so forth and so forth, blah 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 blah. And it's like, he's a socialite just like me. He likes to go out and talk to people, shake people's hands, get involved, be very personal, and he can't do any of that, which is like, oh. So the thing is that bringing that now whole aspect to a convention setting, boy, oh boy,
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Like, I mean, I know that we're starting to open businesses. Some things and whatever else are open for curbside pickup. So that's a positive. Like,
yeah,
hopefully, in less than a year, we're back to the regular
hopefully,
where people can go back and do stuff. But I mean, it is gonna impact travel,
oh yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
If there's another relapse,
Which unfortunately, I don't want to sound like doom and gloom, which I can honestly see coming. Because
yeah,
if this thing mutates heavily, oh shit,
I don't think it's gonna do that. But I just think it's
yeah,
gonna be people are gonna be a little bit more brave because everything's calmed down. They're gonna go out
yeah,
back to the previous regular business as usual, and then things are gonna get
snap back.
all the way back to what we had before. So
Yeah, it's gonna be even worse next time around. Who? Here's a homework assignment for our listening and viewing audiences. There's a documentary called 12 Monkeys. Like it's almost seeing us.
I love that movie.
Oh,
It's so good.
but
So here's
one second. That's one of my favorite movies too. Like
well,
honestly,
look,
honestly,
here's something. So
yeah,
I know we've plugged at the start of the show.
yeah,
One thing I want to say,
mm,
um, we're gonna have Discord viewing parties every
yeah,
so often. So
yeah.
like all these movies that we talk about, like all this stuff like that, we're gonna I'm gonna figure out how to do it, but we're gonna
Awesome.
have
Do
viewing
it.
parties. We're gonna have viewing parties on our Discord.
Yeah,
So basically, to access our Discord, all you have to do is get, I think, the $5 tier of our Patreon,
yeah,
or if you sub to me on Twitch, which is $5 too, or Twitch Prime sub on Twitch,
yeah,
it's $5 to access the Discord, which gets you into the Discord, the Canuckleheads Discord. It gets you
yeah,
access to the viewing parties. You can suggest topics. Every so often, when we have call-in shows, we're going to have links directly in the Discord for people to be able to join up. So
yeah.
yeah, toss a coin to your Canuckleheads. Toss a coin to your Canuckleheads.
And,
$5
and,
a month
and you know
gets you all
what?
this cool stuff.
For a viewing party, I would so love to nerd out and watch Transformers, the animated feature from back in
Yeah,
the day.
I mean,
Because
like, there's so many that we could. Like, we could do
yeah,
it like once a month or whatever else. So we could have a viewing
yeah.
party. We could watch 12 Monkeys. We could watch Transformers. We could watch some
Oh gosh,
cheesy,
yeah,
nerdy films, whatever else. It'd be fun. We
yeah.
could watch Strange Brew. Look at all this Canadian content.
Oh
Or
gosh, that'd be awesome.
Canadian bacon. That'd be
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
But yeah, like
And,
$5 a month if you want to join them. If you want to join the Patreon.
and maybe just maybe if there's independent filmmakers out there, maybe we could showcase their movie too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Maybe lots of fun with that. Yeah, Jesus. Did you just off topic? Did you hear about what's coming out in Transformer Land?
Not recently.
Okay, I'll be super brief because we're on a really good kick talking about things that may or may not be. They plan to be releasing a prequel for Transformers the animated movie, and it's been around for like 35 years, and I'm genuinely excited to see this thing, and hopefully it gets animated the same
Huh.
way and everything else like that. Yeah. Sorry, a little bit of nerdom coming out there. I apologize. I mean to take away from our talk here. But yeah,
Yeah.
so pandemic time, 12 monkeys, cool. But yeah, who knows what the convention scene is going to be, because again, it's just, this is the honest funny part, getting back in that vein of things. Our conventions are not as big as a fan expo or an anime north, not to throw them any free advertising or knocking them down, but the thing is that the biggest problem with those events, if things still be in place, how do you herd those many people to fit into the very small working space? And that's going to be a huge hurdle to jump over, especially for a fan expo, because they're one of the biggest conventions in Canada, hands down.
Yeah.
So fuck. Craziness, because again, if you need 6 feet between each person, you got over like 10,000 bazillion people.
Well,
Boy.
it's the worst part is what you're looking at is the fines
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. I mean, there's that salon owner. Apparently, the Supreme Court in the states had
Yeah, I heard about
overturned it,
this. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they
and
did they?
yeah, they declared saying that they needed to release her, but no, she went to jail for God knows how long.
And did you hear the other part behind that? They basically the judge made her apologize, and basically she looked at the judge right and I said, "I'm not apologizing. Take me to fucking jail."
Yeah,
So that's how that court case worked out. But I'm really glad to hear that got overturned by the Superior Court.
yeah. It went to the Supreme Court, and they told them to let her go. So
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
let my people go.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad to hear that. That's good. I think that's good. But again, we're going to be such moving into a new time. Who knows what's going to happen? But one thing I do know, something is going to happen.
Of course, and some. I mean, it is what it is. What it is. It'll be a new normal going forward, and we're gonna march.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'll go on record and say that should everything be fine, we get our venue, we get everything going, and Earth is spinning as it normally should be.
yeah,
We're more than happy. We're definitely gonna be extending an invite to Vic Mignogna to come back.
yeah.
Uh,
We'll definitely figure something out in those
and see
aspects.
what basically we haven't really talked guests or budget or anything else like that for the event right now,
Exactly.
but
But
we're more than happy to
yeah,
extend an invite to Vic to come back.
for sure. Like generally, I think it'd be great to have Vic there. On what capacity we could have Vic on, who really knows? Like as an example, our base, again, not to be doom and gloomy, we don't even know what our base is going to look like. We
That's
don't know
exactly what I'm saying.
what we're going to have put into place to have guests coming in and everything else like that. Like as an example, as I
That's
mentioned before.
literally exactly what I said.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned before, if the guest needs to have 14 days in quarantine.
Yeah, we can't really have people out of country at that point.
Yep.
So
And people coming in from other countries, like, oh. And the thing is that our problems small. Imagine if it was a fan expo problem. Oh gosh.
well, exactly. I mean, like you're talking one person as opposed to 50,
Yeah.
right? Like people that have to cross the border. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it would depend on if Vic got invited to a series of conventions. That would be different because then he could at least come into Canada and then like stay for
Hang
14
out.
days and
14
then
days. Yeah.
just make a month tour of it kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, no, it's going to be it's too early to tell in terms of that. But like for those people out there asking, because I know we've had a lot of fans really excited, really happy,
Yeah.
really
Oh
wanting
yeah.
to know. So like we are
The
more than
videos are
happy.
there.
We are more than happy to have Vic Mignogna back next year.
Yeah.
We aren't even at the point right now where we can look at guests because we're just trying to figure out a number of different moving pieces right now. Like, have to figure out if we can get our venue, if the venue is going to be in one solid piece, or if it's going to be in
Multiple
chunks of
pieces.
concrete. If we can't get that venue, then we have to figure out where we can hold it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we can figure out our budget, and then we can figure out guests. So
Yeah, you got it. Basically, we got a whole bunch of big pieces and a whole bunch of small pieces, and we
yeah,
don't know how these pieces are going to overlay.
but we
But
just wanted to let the fans know exactly
yeah,
what's going down because like
for
this
the
is where
fans.
it's where we're coming from. We want to be transparent with it, like
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
So well, it's I guess more than most places do, but yeah, we're more than happy to have him back if we're actually physically able to do so. So
yeah. And at the same time, we between you and me, Crumb, we're coming up with a whole bunch of new ideas, groundbreaking stuff, far as I could tell. And the thing is, whatever we move forward with, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be lots of work, but we have a really good team to work with, and I'm pretty sure we can handle it and make it all work all around. And
I'm not worried about that.
no,
It's more
yeah,
so logistics of like physical time and space
yeah.
rather than ability.
Sounds like a Star Trek meme.
I mean,
Physical
if we
time
don't
and space.
if we don't have if we don't actually physically have a room to hold it, then we can't. I mean, it's not about the ability to do it. It's that. But
Yeah,
also for anybody out there that's wondering, I know we've had a couple people asking. I've already answered a few people on Twitter over it. Yes, we have the packages. I can't send them right now because I'm under quarantine and the packages are with me. So we have to wait until I get the tests, and then we have to wait until Canada Post actually starts delivering stuff again.
Yeah.
Because right now it's looking like they're for packages at least, it doesn't look like any packages are being sent until the 19th.
Yeah.
And so and I mean, coincidentally, I have to wait X amount of days before I can get a clearance from being able to send stuff anyways. So
Yeah.
we have your autographs, we have the packages. We have to wait for the print shop to open up so that we can get specific custom things for the people
Printed
that bought
off.
the custom things printed.
Yep.
So we're just in a hurry up and wait situation. So I want you to guys know that we haven't forgotten about you. We have all this stuff here. It's ready and willing to ship.
Yeah.
We can't right now.
It's
So
just, and on top of that, we really do appreciate everyone's patience for this. When it really comes down to it, who saw a pandemic coming, especially on this level of things? And the thing is that this has left a lot of question marks that no one's been through before.
well,
And
and no,
we,
and no one at all. So to people's credit, nobody at all has been pestering or has been doing anything like that. I literally just wanted to let people know because
yep,
you guys have been so patient with us. You guys have been so awesome. So
yeah, no, and we really do appreciate that.
yeah. So it and
Yep,
yeah, I mean, feel free to keep contacting us, keep asking us questions or letting us know
yep.
what you want to see in the future. We always really enjoy hearing from our fans.
And of course, if we can make things quicker and send things out as soon as we possibly can, we'll definitely take that avenue right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Hmm.
for the people that bought the lower tiers with the less stuff,
Yeah,
that'll be going out as soon as we get the okay from the doctors that I'm cleared from the coronavirus. We'll be able to send those out. There are bigger packages that we need a little bit more attention to, a little bit more customized stuff that we need to send out. So that
yeah.
might take a little bit longer.
Stupid beer virus.
Toss a coin to your Twitcher. Exactly, Booster.
Yep,
Toss a coin to your Twitcher.
yep.
I'm putting that on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did we miss any of the shout outs where we were talking back and forth, or we nailed them all?
Oh yeah, I've been showing them on the
That's
screen.
awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Was your phone going off?
Kind of. It's okay.
All right. You want to get it?
All right. Can I take a little time out here? Want to keep talking for a little
Well,
bit?
I think we're about wrapping up the show anyways.
All right.
So.
Well, let's wrap it up then. We'll move forward with all that.
All right. So, all right. Yeah. So, finishing thoughts then of all the stuff we've been talking about.
Oh God, we covered a lot of topics, didn't we?
Lots of controversies.
Oh, tons and tons and tons. Especially online stuff. Know who your friends are, who your colleagues are. You know, basically, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Tons of controversy coming down the pipes. Always controversy, cooler talk type of thing. And just be kind. It's going to be tough doing that moving forward with some people's.
It's
But
true.
and the thing is that's the tough part. But we've all been there before. If we all work together and everyone's there, it should be less than a burden because there's going to be some tough times coming down the pipes. I think it's going to be tougher than some people realize. The economy is not going to be the same. Business as usual isn't going to be the same. We're going to have a whole bunch of new norms moving forward. And if people are just kinder to each other, I think we could get through a lot of that negative chunks.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. It's just going to take some work
Yeah.
and understanding. A little bit of TLC, and it should work out fine.
Yeah.
And also on top of that was a nice day. Heaven forbids, put your mask on. As I like to say, put some rubber gloves on too.
Yeah.
and
No
just
kidding.
and just go out, practice social spacing, be responsible for what you're doing. Do not lick doorknobs unless you really have to.
I mean, don't go outside unless you need to. But
Yeah. But the thing is, again, even if you're just outside on your porch, just enjoy the weather when you can.
Yeah.
And at the same time, just be kind. That's it.
So Action Toys is asking, is Crumbrion going on Twitch? I will be going on Twitch in probably a couple hours. I'm going to grab some food first.
Yeah.
I'll probably be going on in about 2 hours time. So
Yeah.
check it out, twitch.tv/Crumbrion. You can see the spelling right there in my name
Mhm.
on there. It's just go to twitch.tv and then do a / and then Crumbrion. You'll be on my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on in about 2 hours. I think I'll probably play some Disgaea and going through the item world and doing some grinding on there. So you can check me out on there. If you have Twitch Prime, you can get that free sub with Twitch Prime. It'll get you access to our Canuckleheads Discord,
Sweet.
as well as my my personal Crumbrion Discord. But yeah. So aside of that, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of stuff here. I mean,
We did.
Thank you everybody so much for sticking through our incoherent ramblings.
We covered a lot of ground today, didn't we, Crumb? My goodness
Yeah.
gracious!
Like what you just said was the the dumbest thing I have ever heard. No point in your incoherent ramblings did you have any semblance of a point.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's from Billy Madison.
yeah, I know. I'm kind of going. I know this line, and we're all dumber for it. Thank you.
Everyone in this room is dumber for it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, this is what I love about our show.
Oh,
Goodness gracious.
yeah.
Tons of lols, yo.
We're gonna try to every Saturday night, 5 p.m. Eastern time, right around this time. We're gonna we try to go for an hour. We're obviously well over that now, but that's fine.
Yep.
Catch us on the replay, catch us on Twitch and YouTube. But for now, keep your stick on the ice. Thank you so much for joining. Have yourselves a good one.
See you, everyone. Peace.